Hello and welcome to another edition of VS Gaming Smack Talk. I am your host Ryan Mackay, and with me are these two lovely gentlemen on my left and right over here. Here we have Pulse Gaming, is that right? Pulse Gaming, and his name is Fady. Fady, I'm sorry about that. That's a little awkward, but I'm going to move on to here now. And here we have, it's White Rabbit Gaming, right?
Yes.
And Castaway. Did I get that right?
Yes, 100%.
Are we recording live? Anyway. Guys, you know the story that this is a safe environment, and the whole point and objective of this space is to kind of get each other's feelings out there, all right? Like out there, all right? We chatted about this. Castaway, how are you feeling towards Pulse Gaming right now?
We're not worried at all because they're literally less relevant than the range creep in mid lane. So yeah, we're feeling pretty confident.
All right. Well, with that said, do you have anything to reply to this guy?
I think it should be a pretty easy game. He's being nice and cocky, being in White Rabbit and everything, but the longer you shut down Chijawi in the bot lane, and Chijawi will just have a nice feed, and Castaway will run out to the booth having a baby rage.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a little step back and, you know, you guys, I don't know, just high five. High five is great. Can I have a high five?
Give you a high five.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
Well, we're getting to the interesting part of the tournament now. This is where we get to Last Chance Saloon. We're in the lower bracket, which means if teams lose now, that is it for their weekend. That is it for their chance at the 500,000 Rand. And of course, that is the end of their tournament. They're going to have to be sitting, watching the stands with the rest of our viewers here. Reminder to the crowd that is with us right now, the expo is of course closed, but you are welcome to stay for this, our last game of the day. Unfortunately, if you do leave, that is it for you. We'll see you tomorrow. The security are not letting you back in. But to discuss things more Dota related, let's hand over to our panel now.
Well, here we are, the graveyard shift. The last game of the day.
And also the only best of three.
Yeah.
So what do we do then? We do the I'm
best
excited dance, right?
Yes, far less likely to get cheese strats unless it's literally the last game, I guess. Sad to see them go, but I guess I'm happy to see them leave. Nonetheless, the lineup is interesting. We've got ourselves APG and Sin5.
Yep. It's also an elimination match. And I think the interesting thing is that whoever goes through here obviously is still going to be not necessarily as highly regarded, but for different reasons. APG, it's not like we don't know they have the potential to go deep into the tournament.
Yeah.
We just don't trust their consistency to do so. Whereas with Sin5, we don't trust, we don't know anything. So either way, it's going to be, whoever wins here is still going to be considered like the little brother in the tournament, still has to fight a lot of backlash to actually get to the top. So this is going to be a match of fighters, I think.
Okay, what do you think? Do you think either team is happy to leave at this stage?
No.
I mean, happy to leave,
No.
feel victorious with what they've achieved so far?
No, honestly, I don't think so. Especially in the forms of APG, because they've been at the top and they know what it feels like. So to crawl away from the bottom once again, it has to be demoralizing, and they have to be like, well, enough is enough. Let's do this. So I think for them it would really hurt more. Whereas Sin5, you know, just accomplishing the goal of saying, hey, we're going to Masters and we're going to do it in a year. They're here. Yeah. I think for them, for what they've set their standards to, they've accomplished that already, and they've proven themselves against WRG today. Yeah. Didn't win, but they certainly didn't, you know, just roll over and die.
Absolutely.
For me, though, APG, I feel, will feel the loss a little bit harder than Sinister5, but as Snare stated, completely accurate, on point with both teams, regarding both teams.
Sure.
I believe in APG, I just don't believe in their consistency to actually win the match, because if you look at what they've done from last year till now, it's just been going down and down and down and down.
Well, we shall see, but at first, let's introduce you to the side, the boisterous side, the dark horse of the tournament, Sin5. Man, man. I wish I could turn that camera around and show you the CSGO of Sin5 that's sitting here giving them support late at night.
Yeah.
They deserve it. Yep, listen to that crowd.
They've been here the whole day.
And this is one of the things that Sin5 really does have going for it over the other teams, I feel.
The other team, like the crowd favorites.
Like the CSGO half of the organization is here giving their all, just as much as the Dota guys are.
Yeah.
Like, even the players, when you look at them in the booth, they don't seem like a team who thinks of themselves in the lower bracket. They still seem like winners. They still seem confident that they're here. I think now it's at that, like Saki was saying, they've achieved their primary goal of getting here. Literally everything else is a bonus, and who doesn't like getting free bonuses? So they're going to work hard, obviously, but just keep. Basically, this is like a Midas for them, for their own personal achievement. Just going to keep getting it as far forward as they possibly can.
Look, I don't want to discount them that much because other teams that have wildcarded into Masters before have beaten lower teams to get there, where they have actually beaten the supposed top teams in South Africa to be here.
Yeah.
So they've already accomplished that, and they can do it again. But this is a LAN setting, and people do play differently. So let's see if they can do it.
Well, let's talk specifically about Sin5. Now, they obviously have maybe the feeling of the home field advantage thanks to the kind support of their teammates. But what else do they have going for them? What is it that would win them this game against APG right now?
Repo, and game one when they played before, I said Fearbender, but the way what I saw when they played against WRG, right, was the fact that I think they've actually shifted priorities more towards what their supports are able to do. Like Fearbender was playing his usual style of Dota, but then the supports had shifted capacity, so they were doing different things. So I think that's probably different on them.
You also got other players that have been playing a Master Long, like the likes of Traxian and those guys. And Stunt standing in, I believe, right? Yeah. Stunt is from DC, I know he's standing in, but the fact that they're doing this well with a stand-in as well, because stand-in really does throw your whole team off balance, because you're not used to playing with it. And the fact that they're doing so well, even with a stand-in, also proves just how much these guys have worked and how well they communicate.
They've certainly come prepared. But they're not the only ones. They're going to go up against what has been dubbed the king of the lower brackets. And here we sit at the lower brackets. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the team of APG. That's the side of APG. They've been around the block. You can see they're actually sitting with smiles on their faces at the moment. Good old Phalanx there. He always puts a smile on my face. I don't know why. Nonetheless, we've spoken about what the side of Sin5 have going for them. What does the side of APG have going for them?
Experience.
A wealth of experience.
Wealth of experience. And like you said, the lower bracket kings, but also due to the fact that we did see a glimmer of the old APG come through today in the last game they played. But as you so stated, they're their worst enemy when it comes to that, because they get the advantage and they do something unorthodox when they know, like the APG, you should know better, and they lose over something silly. But let's hope they don't do that.
They are their own worst enemies.
They are their own worst enemies, and that's unfortunately the title. I mean, maybe you can go more in depth into it, but I mean, basically for me, it feels like they're just not consistent enough. And
I think one of the ways they can actually fix that is if they draft differently for Conspiracy. Like him being, it's his first time online, I believe, right?
Yes,
so I think one of the things that they could have done in the previous game to help him along was not pick a hero like Faceless Void, where you actually need to perform at 100% at every stage of the game, otherwise your team can lose. Like we saw the team lost like off a couple of lost chronos. So pick him a hero that's a little bit easier to play, something that you don't have to focus as much on, something that like even under high pressure LAN environment you can make something happen instantly with it. So
I mean, you're speaking about Conspiracy, especially on that Faceless Void game that he played earlier. He actually really did well, all things considered. He was landing not black holes. He was landing chronospheres that were just clipping 3 heroes when any average player would have only caught 1.
Yeah, but he did miss one chrono.
He missed the one key one.
The biggest chrono in the game, where it really mattered. He did miss it. But I mean, like we said, Conspiracy is a pub star, and they did replace their last carry PSL with him. So the roster changes have been a big factor in APG being that inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if they opt to draft for something different. Not likely, though, as we look through the bands. Omni Knight's a little bit different.
Yeah,
I've seen him once before.
I think they saw what Sinister5 did. They were like, we don't want to let them cheese us.
So maybe a little bit of respect?
Yeah, a little bit of respect for this Omni strat. I think they, having watched that game, they're not confident they could have taken the run in the same way that WRG did. So rather just ban it out, get rid of it.
And the Viper, there we go, cheers.
So is this Night Stalker or Spirit Breaker that Sinister5 go for here? Or is it something completely different, actually?
Void
it could be. Yeah, the Conspiracy Void isn't something you want to play up against, but I mean, it's you could hear it to get rid of as well. But I feel like, Spirit Breaker is going to come through, but we're either going to see either the Night Stalker or the Coddle come through, unless it's going to be picked or banned here.
Maybe O'Malley plays, they go Puck.
They go Puck.
That's actually even better. I think after the last game, I have a sneaky suspicion that Puck is going to be like the premier mid laner for this tournament. So just either you pick it or you ban it, but you can't necessarily let it go through in its entirety. That being said, it's not, like it can actually die towards the Rasta, the Shadow Shaman, because the amount of, you can disable the Puck long enough to kill him.
Yeah, you
with
can.
The zero.
And then you got the Spirit Breaker to do that as well. I mean, sorry, not Spirit Breaker, now Nyx Assassin to do that as well. And also the Spy Carapace really, really does mess up the combos of a team if you literally time it really, really well. But for me though, ACG, there's just better heroes for him. I don't know if you agree with me here, but like ACG on Puck, he's good, but he's not as good as he could be, like say on Embo, on Invoker. ACG's give him these comfort heroes.
It doesn't seem like it has that much. ACG seems to like these damage heavy heroes that can right click a lot. Puck doesn't seem like that style of hero. Maybe this is offlane Puck though.
It could be.
We've seen that, especially considering that they don't have right now any. They need a hero that can stick in the offlane long enough that Shadow Shaman is not going to be that much of a problem for them. And also they have to assume that it's possible that this Nyx Assassin is going to be support as well from Sinister5.
I'm never going to see O'Malley Clockwork, am I?
No.
It's a cold day in hell, but a beautiful one when you see O'Malley playing Clockwork. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be that game.
No, that's why I said I'm never going to see an O'Malley Clockwork, am I? It's not happening.
But out goes the Huskar yet again. Aperture Gaming drafting the similar bans that Sinister5 had to go up against last time.
They don't want the cheese strats because, I mean, they did so well against WRG with that type of strat. And, APG is not the same team as WRG. Like Snay was saying, with the Omni Knight ban, they're not confident enough to see if they can actually beat the Sinister5 cheese strat.
That is a lot of respect to give to someone who's essentially the dark horse, the newcomer to the program.
Yeah, the newcomer, yes, but respect, definitely. They deserve all the respect in the world. I wouldn't.
I mean, people have seen them scrim. They've scrimmed against each other before, so they know what they're good at. They're like, okay, Sinister5 is actually a good team. Like, you can't take away anything with respect from them. I like this Visage ban because if you give Visage Rasta in the lane +1. You stun someone once, guaranteed you're going to stack up enough solar assumption charges to just burst them down immediately afterwards, even at the early levels. So at level 2, you can still kill basically any offlaner, which is pretty great. So good ban. And then they ban out so it looks like Sinister5 don't believe that this Puck is going mid because they just ban out the ACG Invoker. Yeah. But at the same time, it is ACG Invoker, so banning out one of their best hero combos is probably, or hero player combos is probably one of the best things to do.
Yeah, because you can always take the Spirit Breaker as a roaming position for Puck off lane, and then you still have the ACG Invoker mid, which is dangerous. You don't want to play against because ACG is really good on that hero.
Yeah. I'm surprised they picked Zeus into Nyx Assassin.
Is it just me, or does that seem a little brave?
I mean, this has to be support Zeus now, right? Like, you wouldn't want to pick core Zeus into Nyx Assassin, so...
Well, to quote Juggernaut, there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. I know the boys of Aperture Gaming, they're not stupid. So they must have something in mind. Going up against the Nyx Assassin, picking up a Zeus, they must have something else in mind. It is nice to have, because you can scout them out using the Lightning Bolt.
This could be Chinese-style offlane Zeus. Like, what you do is that if you have Zeus, right, with the Spirit Breaker, then Spirit Breaker just charges in, right? You let up a couple of Arc Lightnings, and then by the time the Spirit Breaker gets there, right, the enemy heroes are so low in HP that one Lightning shot can burst them. Even if it finishes your mana, you and Spirit Breaker can just get a kill. But it's a tough ask versus Ursa, because if Ursa gets the turn onto you, as Zeus, especially in the offlane, you just die instantly. And the same goes for Puck as well. So they've shot out their safe lane pretty well so far from the side of Sinister5.
And Ursa is one of those heroes that can't quite get his hand into the cookie jar, so he needs a hero to secure him the kill. So like, he's got the Shadow Shaman now. All the Shadow Shaman needs to do is shackle someone or hex someone, and Ursa goes ham. And it's not just that, he's also good at negating damage with his ulti. So he can evade a lot of that damage coming out from Zeus just because Ursa. So for me it's a really good pick against the Zeus, a good pick. Sorry?
What Ursa also buys them is early rush potential.
Yeah, of course. And you don't even need a full pads, you just need a Morbid Mask.
I mean, got yourself a Spectre.
I mean, blink phase boots, Ursa is never fun, and you have it within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Also, this is a game where they have Rasta, so you go into the Roshan pit fairly early on. As soon as Rasta hits 6, guaranteed ages.
So while the puck and him while the mid and him are pushing, they don't have time to contest rush. There goes,
That being said, actually, they can still get highly contested around rush because they've got now this global strat between Spirit Breaker, Zeus, and Spectre. So at any stage of the game when Sinister5 is off the map, APG can scout them out. But worse than that, the thing that can happen against the Ursa can get super kited by these heroes later in the game before he has BKB. Like, Puck can hit him with the Dream Coil, he can get altered by Spirit Breaker, Zeus Lightning Wall stops him from being able to do anything in the team fights, and Spectre can just like run around him, throwing out daggers and jumping around with the Spectral Haunt.
No, look, he does normally get kited, that's what I'm saying. But he needs those lockdown supports to help him get those kills initially. But I'm saying, like, when they, like now, especially with the Jakiro, you have the Shadow Shaman Jakiro pushing a tower, forcing the rest of the team to commit to defend that tower. In the meantime, Ursa takes an easy rush, gets a quick blink dagger, gets into the team fight, early BKB, maybe even an early basher even as well before that.
The hero's not that good against Spectre though. Like, Spectre gets to a point where it's good early before pre-Radiance, but as soon as Radiance comes out, Ursa relies very much on being able to get off those 4 complement of right clicks out in the middle of a team fight. So if he's not able to do so, takes a mischance before BKB, it's super hard to fight at that point. Also, Spectre's it's not that great versus Nyx Assassin though. You can actually use the Nyx Assassin Spice characters to isolate the Spectre, and you can Vendetta kill this hero very early on in the game, and it rarely carries a high amount of regen.
For me, Ursa can also fight a bit earlier than Spectre can in most cases, and especially to the nerf to his ulti. I think it's like every 180 seconds now at level 1.
It's like 110 at level
110, it's ridiculous.
It's like almost 140.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it does nerf the hero quite a bit. But I mean, it's still a viable hero, and it still can out-carry an Ursa, I feel, really late game, but it's getting there that's going to be the problem. Because of these aggressive and Nyx Assassin, the supports that can literally just barrel down, take your towers, it's going to be hard, and now they still have another hero to pick.
Yeah, the Spirit Breaker is going to have a lot of work to do in the early stages of the game, and a lot of evading to do. I suspect we will be seeing him jumping in and charging into the front lines to save people rather than to engage. It's going to be a challenging way, one way or the other. He's a melee hero, doesn't really want to get up in Ursa's face because Ursa will rip him a new one.
It's a hard decision. They banned Nature's Prophet, so they think that this is mid Puck and support Zeus. And they're also probably thinking about the complete global strat.
The global strats. And what about the AA? But you can.
AA is crazy good against Ursa. Actually, so
but the thing is,
global strat as well.
Yeah, it isn't. That's what I'm saying. But like, you're not going to find ban out the Prophet, but then you give AA an ulti, and then you give Zeus the ulti, and then you've got Spectre. So it does fit in with that whole global strat because, I mean, Spectre's the global presence. You've got Zeus, and now I've got Spirit Breaker as well.
Yeah, no, AA can definitely work. It's also pretty decent against Jakiro. There's a hero with a high HP pool, so something that can burst him when he's at that point. It'll very combos up very well with Zeus.
But again, it's more squish to a lineup that's already squishy, so you also have to think about that.
Like, they're very squishy right now, but I don't know. I feel like they don't care. APG, the way they're drafting right now, they're just like, guys, we can out-damage them. Sure, they can get us there as well, but just never allow them to get on top of us, and we should be okay. But in that vein, perhaps they won't want to go for AA, because the hero that can get solo killed by Nyx can get solo killed by Rasta, and can get solo killed by Ursa, so don't take the chance.
It's a tough one.
It ends up being something you have to babysit rather than using.
So it seems like much more work that it's worth. I want to see what mid they go for here.
Sinister5 is taking their sweet time. They've got about 15 seconds on the clock, so they better come up with something soon.
OD, maybe?
Okay.
CK. Alright, this is mid Ursa then, actually. So
I'm liking
versus
this.
Puck or Zeus is not great, but this CK, okay, so I think one of the reasons they picked CK, this is like a very snowball heavy lineup on the side of Sin5. This is honestly CK early game, and especially like up until level 15, if you're not contested properly, is game breakingly strong. You can, like, all of these heroes can die instantly from one reality rift. If you grab Spectre, Zeus, Puck, or Spirit Breaker, like, you melt all their armor and they just die in like 3 shots. So
Succubus?
Sometimes even in 1 shot, especially with a squishy lineup. Especially once he gets the omelet as well. Just that reality rift does too much damage.
That being said, Zeus is kind of good against it though.
Yeah, Zeus is good against. Yeah, but you don't really skill illusions till much later on a CK on average.
Of course.
So it's not something that's it's going to be a problem in the early stages of the game. And by the time, if they get it right, they snowball with a CK and of course an Ursa. By that time, there's nothing to be done.
And if you play the illusion game, ultimately you're likely to lose with a Spectre on the field as well.
This kind of forces them to play support Zeus, right? Because you don't want to run like Zeus in the offlane versus CK. It doesn't have that high move speed, and CK is extremely fast, so you can find yourself being easily stunned up, especially because they've got Jakiro on the backline, can slow you with liquid fire. So this probably forces support Zeus and then mid puck. So now they need their offlane hero on the side of APG for melee.
Look, the last time I saw a CK work is actually in the support position where they picked a Terrorblade and CK rushed Aghanims and literally used these Aghanims onto the Terrorblade with Metamorphosis, and you know that's the easiest tower taking you can ever imagine.
Oh my gosh.
It was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Yeah, that sounds
so that's and here we go, Monkey King.
Monkey King again.
Is this O'Malley Monkey King? I think this is O'Malley Monkey King.
This is probably
right?
O'Malley Monkey King, yeah. It has to be.
Yeah, O'Malley Monkey King.
So from a hero we totally didn't expect to be drafted in this tournament.
Oh, ACG? What? No.
And ACG will be picking it up as well.
This has to be...
All right.
Whoa.
All right. I'm going to need
O'Malley
predictions
Puck?
from you guys. Because this has blown my mind.
This has to be a troll. They can easily swap
Actually,
when they get in game.
You know why it's ACG Monkey King, right? Now that I think about it, if you go level 1 Jinko Mastery, right, Ursa can actually do absolutely nothing.
that's
Monkey
true.
King is the best level 1 harasser, so I think this is going to work. This APG stat's going to work.
It's risky. It's very risky.
Give me predictions. guys.
APG, this game, yeah.
I'm going to go with Sin5.
You're going with Sin5. Okay.
What about you?
Well, you've got some friends.
You can't get out of this. Who do you predict?
I'm the host.
Don't make me
I'm allowed to
blush,
have
please.
opinion. But I'll tell you who does have an opinion, and they're very, very keen to share it. It's none other than Jubba and Scarpy in the casting booth. Take it away, boys.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Dota players around the world. We're back. It is the last series of the evening, and it is so good to see so many bums in the seat. Our die-hard Dota fans out there supporting your teams, supporting SA Dota, and supporting VS Gaming. It is good to be here, good to be bringing you this game. And hopefully APG and Sin5 do give us a cracker of a game. I'm Jabba, joined by none other than Scarpy himself.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to this. This is just different, right? Mid lane Jakiro, we got a safe lane Monkey King, we've got a support Chaos Knight?
I don't know what is happening. And
I don't know what to do with my hands, man.
I mean, it is. Okay. Let's just take a second to actually realize the gravity of the situation at the moment. This is the lower brackets. This means the loser of this series is going home.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake here. I mean, these guys, a lot of them traveled from far and wide to get you, and now they're in this situation. They're going to be playing their best. They're not clowning around.
Well, this is the first time Sin5 has been together on a LAN event. APG have been, the old gods, been almost humbled to say the least, and may look at going home. I mean, this is quite a devastating situation for APG.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people still believe that APG can pull this through. They had a very shaky start today. I still think they're in a good place. I don't think they're that weak. I think a lot of people are maybe underestimating them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm just keen to see how these lanes pan out. Did they swap anything? It's still saying the same. Yeah, mid lane Jakiro, Traxian, CK,
and ACG on the Monkey King. So while the game is underway, let's get ready to Dota. As the side of APG is making their way into the top lane, what are the shenanigans that are happening here? Is this going to be a...
Hello?
I don't want to say this too loud, but look what's happening on the screen, guys. We have got some...
Hello, Bash!
Okay, so this is a... let's do the introductions in the meantime, I'm guessing, is... the side of Sin5, we've got Traxian playing the CK, O'Malley trying to chase him down, Bob Yules. They may have seen that Jewel breath.
Yeah.
And
big trouble.
This could be a problem. It's a found out. It's a fiasco. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, hanging him. First blood, next to go down, ACG Phalanx picks himself up, a double kill. Stunt, almost a little bit of trouble here. Comes out the right clicks. Can he make it out? And the last little dagger going to be able to bring him down. Phalanx with a triple kill. Put Phalanx in the mid lane and let your Zeus be your mid laner?
It's a disaster.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Let's have a look at that replay. Please, that was chaotic.
Yeah, so it's frozen, and it's a black screen now. So I guess there's some technical issues. Hopefully, it will get resolved. So
Right, well, let's just go around and do the introductions as we may be saying goodbye to one of these teams. So starting out once again on the side of the Radiant, it is going to be APG's Botbules playing the Spur Breaker. In the bot lane, we've got Conspiracy playing the Spec. We've got Mr. Phalanx, our triple killer, mass murderer, playing the Zeus. In our mid lane, we have got ACG playing the Monkey King. A little bit of a wraparound here from Jackson. Nothing super yet. Top lane, O'Malley going to be playing out the buck. Before we do the introductions for the side of the Dire, let's see that replay that took part in that one.
that's a music we want to see. But it does come up soon. But,
Right, let's have a look at that replay.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a good stun though from the Knicks. It seemed like a decent setup, but they were just so low from Roche beating them up. A lot of them hadn't solved up yet. Timing was just so poor. And a triple kill going the way of a support Zeus. He's smiling all the way home. That's 3 boots for him. That's just 3 boots.
No, that is absolutely massive start to playing this on the Zeus. And what is a little bit frisky, but without further ado, please go and do the introduction.
It's getting late. Don't worry about it. Traxium going to be playing over here on the CK support role. Interesting stuff. Reaper going to be playing on something a little bit more normal, I suppose. One could say the Shadow Shaman. And in the safe lane, Aghanim going to be playing over on that wall. So going towards the mid lane. Another unorthodox pick here. Shakira going to be playing in the mid lane. It's not that unorthodox, but still something we haven't seen in quite some time. And last but not least, in the off lane, Stunt going to be playing over on the Snicks.
Right, well, that wraps it up for both teams. Already 3-1 on the scoreboard. 2 minutes into the game. I promise you, it may be late in the evening on this Friday night down in Cape Town at the CTICC. It is going to be action-packed. A lot of action happening, and quite a couple of kills to boot already.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just looking at the Zeus now. I mean, Phalanx just got free shoes, really, for this game. He's got some sweet kicks starting off the game. He really didn't expect something like this. This is just a...
Oh, O'Malley, he's going to get caught out. Reaper gets the nut. There's the stun from Jackson, and easy clean up there by O'Malley. Just overextending a little bit. And Sin5 taking advantage and slowly leveling out the kill count.
Yeah, they actually got very long lockdown in this lane. CK's stun is very... can be extremely long. I mean, it can get up to 4 seconds at a stage. And... as well as the potential lockdown that comes from the Shadow Shaman. And at the same time, when an Ursa's beating up at you, it's pretty scary. So O'Malley's going to have a tough time. He has to play this pretty safe. He's been doing a good job. He farms a jungle camp once in a while, trying to keep himself safe. As soon as he overextends, he's going to get punished. So he needs to be extremely careful.
ACG in the mid lane taking quite a bit of liquid fire. Tries to start a Fearbender, but ACG, I don't see him surviving through it. He doesn't. And Monkey King getting punished for his sins. Bob Yule's coming in like a mad cow and decides to actually pull out. Before this game, I was actually chatting to the boys outside. Habibi earlier actually played a spur break against the team, and I actually we're having a couple of laughs. Castaway was there as well, and they said the only time you ever stop a barrier charge is never stop a barrier charge, and that's coming from Castaway himself.
Yeah, that's the truth. It's just YOLO, dude. Just go for it. Yeah, you only live once, I suppose. You live quite a few times in Dota.
Yankee Oscar, Lima Oscar, baby, and that's the way the boys need to roll. They play Spur Breaker.
Yeah. So I mean, the laning stages. I mean, considering that there was a triple kill picked up by Zeus at the beginning of the game, the laning stages are pretty relaxed, I suppose. The fact that they've actually managed to pick off ACG once now is pretty good. So I think Sinister5 have closed that gap that they lost very early on.
Oh, bot lane though, Phalanx going to get spotted out. Traxon gets the stun off, only 1 second though. Stunt not being able to actually get the stun off. He's going to get lightning bolted. The cow is on his way in. You see that little animation above his head. Could be a little bit of trouble. Traxon trying to see if he can farm more. He's going to back himself out of there. Bob Yules is in. He's brought the pain. but Traxian's trying to work on the Zeus. They do lose stunt, and now they're going to turn their focus onto Traxian. He's going to try and hide under the tier 1 for protection. It does manage to stop the onslaught here from APG, and they get the kill on our poor little Nick.
Yeah, Nick's it's still a pretty scary lane for him too. I mean, as soon as wherever Bobby Hills is going to be going, it's going to be sort of troublesome. He's had to cancel a couple of charges, unfortunately, just to keep himself safe. But I feel like from here on out, he's going to be all right. Good vision in the mid lane is going to be absolutely essential, because that will allow an opportunity for the Jakiro to, once he does get a point in the outspot, which he might just want to. Often you just actually want to go 4-0-4, but he might just want to, just due to this, what's happening right now to him.
Mid lane though, the charge comes up from Bobby Hills onto Fearbender, but now ACG trying to work down his way onto Traxian. They did use the Wukong's command, didn't get anything for it. So pretty much beautiful rotations, netting a 0 result. But I suppose a 0 result, considering the way the lane was going to go, I suppose that's a win for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're pretty happy with that. Wukong command being used for the first time. That's a 100-second cooldown. Fearbender's going to be aware, okay, I don't need to worry about that for a little while. They're now going to all go up and shrine at about the 6-minute mark. Yeah, Sinister5 will be happy with that sort of outcome. And a lot of time's been wasted from the Spirit Break. He hasn't really been too successful yet. He had one successful charge in the bot lane. So we'll see. Again, charge in the mid? No, actually just going to bash.
It's just a run through.
Yeah.
He called in the radar tower, asked for a flyby, he got it. But Traxian denied it, getting the stun off. Bobby Hills not being able to make that happen. Now top lane, Repo finds the net onto poor O'Malley. He throws down the illusionary orb, deciding to actually go and get aggressive. They do lose the Shadow Shaman. O'Malley going to be able to survive through it. Bob Hills was on his way. Aghanim going to go tough. Is he going to be able to go down? Traxian! He almost brought him closer, but he's now fighting under the tower. He goes down to the last hit of the tower. Aghanim surviving, salving himself up, and almost brought down that little Ursa bear.
That was really nice. I mean, that was such a nice play from Traxian, managing to trap that puck in there, no escape for him, and Aghanim gets a healing salve off so he can remain in lane. There's just almost no concern. He even has another salve that was brought in now by Repo. Obviously, he purchased that himself, and Repo now actually getting some vision down. That could have been scattered by the puck, though. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that if they do opt to deward that, but maybe it wasn't scattered, in fact.
Well, a little bit of a stat coming up along your screen. The 6th highest pick or band rated hero in the South Africa scene, and with definite concern. I mean, he's an absolute monster, gives you the rush potential, and a lot of teams just don't know how to deal with an Ursa, especially when you tie him up with the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, when you see such a high pick rate and it still has 50% or plus, that really shows that the hero is pretty dominant, because that means all teams are picking him up, and if there's a positive or above 50% win rate, that's a bit of a concern. Oh, they're actually going to scatter Vendetta here.
Okay, Bob Hills actually pulled off. That would have been actually pretty epic as he charged in, decided to pull back. Fearbender, Traxian, and good old Mr. Stun trying to hover around this tier 1, trying to see if they can take it. Phalanx, Conspiracy in the vicinity. Do they have more Mr. Bob Hills here on the sidelines? The dagger does come out, going to find Traxian, slow him down a tad. And they may actually just turn around here and get nothing for their efforts here. But the threat of the Space Cow constantly being around.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate there for them, because he did charge his stunt as soon as Stunt used Vendetta, so they were very aware what he was trying to do, so they could play that pretty safely. That could have been a pretty nice engagement. So Fearbender's used his time now to rotate, because his tier 1 tower has already been brought down. He did max out Liquid Fire. So they're going to try and keep on finding objectives. Force a lot of rotations towards the bot lane here, keeping pressure on the spec, slowing him down a little bit. And it's looking pretty good for Sin5 so far. They are still behind in kills, but there's no real big margin between these two teams currently.
Well, Mr. Bob Hills has an important message to leave in the top lane. He's trying to get himself up there at the moment. Doesn't seem that he's going to follow through with it. Mr. Repo is trying to get himself to the top tier 1, and he decides to actually pull off. And Mr. Poor Bob Hills doesn't get anything. Or let's just say message in the bottle was misdelivered.
It's just as good ward in the mid lane. Scattered that rotation coming up so they could quickly just back themselves to a safer position and know that there would be no follow-up if Bob Hills dove too deep. So knowing that his charge is down, he's close to this lane, they know exactly where he is. That's all you need when you're playing up against a Spirit Breaker. If you just have an idea as to where he is, you can sort of deal with him. But Bombio's in the tree line here. He could get a charge to bash up multiple individuals.
The fog just too good. There comes out the spec ult. He's going to be able to find Phalanx, and he's going to pay with his sins. He's going to go down, surrounded by 5 of the players here from Sin5. Bombio's next to get punished. ACG decides to come in, but Repo with the clutch nets tries to stop the Wukong command. The side of Sin5 taking a huge amount of damage, trying to bring him down. They eventually do. They do lose the Shadow Shaman. They do lose Fearbender. But now Conspiracy trying to get out of there. Can he get out of there? Oh, what a stun from Traxian. Just closing the gap. And now Aghanim's, he's going to be the next to go down. Bob Yule's coming in. The Spy Carapace going to slow him down. O'Malley on the sidelines. He's going to jump in. But Vendetta is up and ready to rock as the rest of the boys from Sin5 get themselves out of there. That net on ACG, if it lasted full duration.
Ooh, man. It was a 4-for-3 exchange though, so it was favorable towards the side of Sinister5. They did get about 500 net worth out of that, as well as putting some decent pressure onto the Tier 1 tower. They know that the next time they make a visit there, that's more than likely going to be an objective for them. And again, Fearbin is just going to move himself down to the bot lane and say, okay, well, I'm going to use my liquid fire constantly on your towers and just keep you under pressure.
Well, I mean, I was looking at the beginning part of the game. It looked like Fearbender was actually going to pick himself up the 4-star. Now it's changed to actually the Rod of Atos. How do you feel about this? I really like it. It's going to be able to actually reach down the puck, be able to deal with the puck a little bit better. I think it's a bit of a better choice than the 4-star itself.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think you just get such good stats from Atos. It's with 2 braces. Why not? I mean, he's got 2 braces and 2 null talisman. This just looks like old Dota 1 to me. Just like buy stats items and see what happens. But it's really good. He's got really early stats. He's pretty tanky. He's got 1,500 HP at 11 minutes. That's unspeakable for an intelligence hero. And he just can sort of man up. We saw how long he survived in that previous fight, and that's sort of the thing that gave them that edge to come out ahead in that exchange.
Well, Aghanim's trying to get himself into a certain position over there. ACG kind of feels that something was up, went into the pit, didn't actually see Aghanim in there, but then Phalanx came in, dropped the ward, and now they know that Rod is actually protected. Looking at the bot lane though, big fight coming out here. They lose Repo. Fearbender trying to fight his way through. Yeah, the lightning from Zeus comes out from the god. Traxian now trying to fight through the Macropire, trying to pull ACG through it. This is quite a bit of damage that's been done here. Stunt's trying to get in, help his team, but no. The dagger from Spec finishes off Traxian, and ACG jumps on the trees. Phalanx is now hiding in the side of the bushes. Stunt is now looking for his next target. Going to try and use the wards here to the best of his ability. He's gone to the top here. They don't see where the next is, and now here we go. Stunt gonna make a play on 2. ACG isn't gonna be enough. It is, and Repo gets the kill on top of it. Stunt, demonic plays, if I do say so myself.
Cheeky stuff, man. Oh, that was really cheeky.
ACG thinks, okay, it's gonna be a farming sesh. I've got some wards. Let me snack a little bit of gold up in my pocket. And Stunt says, oh no, this is a trap, my friend.
Yeah.
Come closer. Let me tell you my secrets.
This is really good. I think finding that kill, getting good XP on him. Yeah, Reaper got the kill with the wards, but they need to secure that one. I thought he was actually just going to go for the Zeus, but he went for the bigger target, and it was successful. So that's really
that's
good.
That's your off lane pretty much taking down ACG. Yes, the HPs were a little bit more in favor for Stunt, but I mean, still taking down ACG, your mid laner, probably the most farmed hero on the team currently, and that was a big kill for them.
Yeah. At the same time, Spec's still doing pretty well. He is actually
Bob Yules, though, he's in a little bit of trouble here. I don't see him getting out of this one, no, but that's last. ACG rocks up, throws down the Bounder Strike, and Repo can't actually run that full duration net, and allowing Permis the Spur Breaker his second life.
Yeah, but at the same time, they find that tier 1 tower on the top.
Stunt, just too good. Quick on the fingers, gets the Carapace. O'Malley gets netted out, drops the coil. Conspiracy ulti is in. Bob Yules always goes down, but Reaper goes down as well. Stunt, he's getting a little bit of trouble here. Pops the Carapace. The rest of the side of APG is trying to hunt down the side of Sinister5. They do lose the Shadow Shaman, but at the same time, the Spirit Breaker goes down as well. That was I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but maybe there's a replay for us. Biggie, pretty please.
Well, I mean, until we do maybe get that replay up, it seems like a pretty good situation right now. Traxian, I'm so intrigued by the CK support, right? He's gone for the drums, it's going to assist his team a lot. He's sort of building core. He's been extremely greedy, putting a lot of emphasis on Reaper having to purchase the wards, and he's pretty poor, but not as poor as that of the Spirit Breaker, so... Man, it's just the fact that they found objectives. Again, wards are going to be dropped, and Jakira is just beating away at your buildings. Big problems, and this is a kill here. Zeus will go down. They catch him off guard. Poorly positioned, and
I mean, look at the position of APG. They've got a TP out on O'Malley, TP up on Conspiracy. Still no reactions yet from the side of APG, and pretty much going to allow the side of Sinister5 to take down the mid tier 2.
Yeah, I think they sort of okay with these trades, right? They just say, all right, we need a farm. We can't fight into this. They're just so strong early game. And this is just typical Sinister5 fashion. They've been, oh, Conspiracy. Oh, he actually is still able to run over the cliff there. That could have been very close. If he got caught out there, that would have more than likely been his demise. But O'Malley on the sidelines here, they might look for something. He does have Dream Coil online, but I don't expect one to fight. Yeah, he's tipping himself out.
Well, he's going to throw the orb out, just blink away, and then get himself out there. So, yeah, it's come to the point where we're 15 minutes in, 12 and 12 at this point in time. Let's take a quick look at the net worth graphs, because things are really heating up. And looking at the net worth graph, it's about 1,200 units, not much in terms of XP, even less, around about 400. These teams at the moment are so equal, it is scary.
Yeah, considering the fact that APG started with a 500 net worth start before the timer even began, just because of the triple kill or the multiple kills they got in the Roshan pit. Sinister5 are doing well to pull this game back, and again, I think the net worth is only in their favor due to the fact that they're finding these objectives right now. They're not necessarily out farming their opponents. They're just pushing down these objectives and sort of creating some pressure. Now they need to make sure that they get vision down. If you look at the opponent's jungle, it is scattered with wards. But here we go.
Oh, the blink has come out. The Wukong command is down.
Whoa.
They lose stats almost immediately. Aghanim, he goes down. Aghanim, Aegis is on the floor. And now we've got Aghanim's trying to sit on the outside of that Wukong's command. As APG push forward, they're not going to sound the charge just yet. Traxian throws out the stun onto the Spirit Breaker. In the meantime, O'Malley sitting with a double kill. They're going to pick up the kill on Phalanx. Now Fearbender trying to stop that onslaught. Traxian not being able to finish up the kill onto Bob Yules, but Fearbender is going to go down eventually to O'Malley. Got himself a triple kill. And APG charging in onto Traxian. They're going to find him as well as ACG, who's trying to find more. Aghanim is going to be able to get himself out of there. Aegis is now off the deck, so they're going to try and push on. The Bounder Strike comes in, stunt, going to stun out ACG. Could be in a little bit of trouble here. As ACG may go down, he pops the one, keeps himself alive, baby. And now Reaper rocks into the party. Absolute chaos happening here. This fight isn't over. Reaper gets the nets off onto O'Malley. This could be a big kill if they bring him down. They do a 4 times killing spree. Almost banking himself $500 in the pocket. Stone throws out the carapace. Is gonna keep Bob Yules in place. And Sinister5, they turn it around.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that was absolute. They took the fight from the bot tier 2 tower all the way to almost the tier 1 tower for the side of Sinister5. That was crazy.
Man, that was a really long fight going on for a very long period of time. But yeah, now they're going to go back to this objective taking again. So the fight looked really bad for Sinister5, but they just kept on chasing. They don't really have too much sustain. So I think that was maybe a little bit of a misplay. And as soon as Sinister5 sort of grew back up again, it just was a bit of a disaster. But good plays coming out from Repo as well, stun to sort of make them pay or punish them for their sins there.
Well, ACG on the sidelines, they get Bob Yules coming in there. Wukong command comes down, they've dropped the snakes, they lose Repo, Bob Yules in a little bit of trouble. There's the Macropire down, chomping through the side of APG. Traxian throws out the stun, taking a huge amount of damage. O'Malley trying to close the gap. ACG trying to find Traxian, he does. The blink comes out from Aghanim's, and that calls it for the side of Sin5. Boys, time to get out of there. They lost 2. They lost the Shadow Shaman. They lost Traxian. for the value of just bobules on the Spirit Breaker. You'll be remembered, my friend.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an expensive trade. They got the tier 2 tower, but these trades are starting to be a little bit too expensive here for Sinister5. They want to be a little bit more careful about securing these objectives without too many losses. So, I think they might just fall back, maybe find some items on their heroes, maybe upgrade this Morbid Mask on Aghanim or something like that before they even consider going any further. I think Vlad's is more than likely the direction he's going. Considering the playstyle they're going with, having that extra bit of sustain for his team is going to be quite vital. So, well, I thought the puck was actually jumping in there on the top lane, but he's going to back himself at that.
Then O'Malley just clearing out the creeps. Let's take a look. I believe we do have a little bit of a replay there. Let's hear that double speed. Scarpy, go for it.
They're jumping around, they're going for it, they're going to putting a decent amount of damage onto the tower. They're going to drop the wall shortly. The Wukong command comes out. He's going to come back alive on the earth, so now they're going to run themselves on back. The CK is so confused. He's rifting him back into the middle here. They're jumping forward. They're going to get the kill. The fissure comes through. Oh, man, it's crazy. The R-spot, look at the movement from Vierben and keep himself alive just a little bit longer. Still going to go on the chasing after the CK. CK gets caught out, goes down. And now the Earth is trying to get himself out of dodge here. Gets fissured up. He's taking so much damage. He's got to get out. Oh, it's so close. How did he survive? It's insane. Looking for more. Oh, man, get yourself out of dodge. A little bit of a mistake coming out from O'Malley. Now the Spirit Breaker is more than likely going to make a mistake. I knew it. I could have called it. And he will take a tumble. That was a crazy fight.
That was oh, well played. That was absolutely chaos. That's a double speed. Can I just imagine how you're going to dance?
Oh, man. That was like a horse race.
While we were actually watching that replay, there was a little bit of a tussle in the top lane. They lost good old Mr. Repo. They lost Vierbender just for the cost of Conspiracy. So, I mean, I think it was a worthy trade to watch that replay. I mean, I would pay to watch that replay again. Or you actually doing the replay again. Oh, wow. Let me get us the camera back on the players. That was magnificent, Scarpy.
Thank you. My abs are sore, actually. I need to start working out again. But, yeah, I mean, I actually missed the entire tussle that occurred in that situation. But the game's still pretty even. It's less than a 1k net worth lead to the side of APG. So Sinister5, they've got a lot of objectives, but economically, the side of APG are keeping up pretty well. So I bring up this point that if they want to make these trades, they got to make sure they don't have that many losses. So it seems like they're heeding my advice and falling back, going to find those itemizations first.
Well, I mean, okay, we're sitting 22 minutes into the game, 20 for 17, net worth hardly in it. What kind of timings can we expect here? I'm expecting some big plays here from Conspiracy. He hasn't, he's obviously opted not to go for the Radiance build. He got himself the Blade Mail, building himself into that Diff Blade as well. What do you think are the big timings for the rest of the teams here?
I think, again, they're not going Vlads onto the Earth, so I'm quite surprised by that, considering the sort of playstyle the Sinister5 are going for, but they're getting that diff online, so they realize, oh, ACG actually going to find himself a kill over onto the next. But actually, that must have been charged into, charged into just Bounder Strike and huge amount of damage. They should come back to defend this, but yeah, going back to that point, this Diffusal Blade on Aghanim could be pretty big. It's sort of in controlling these team fights. But I think they need something to keep themselves alive inside that Wukong's command. We just saw how much damage this Monkey King is actually doing to them, and that's a bit of a concern.
What do they look towards? Maybe Crimson Guard. What is the solution to Monkey King? Force staff him out of Wukong's command. What are the options that Sin5 have to actually deal with Monkey King?
I think they got drums though. Like, drums is fine. There's only one charge left on the drums though for Traxian, which is maybe a bit of a concern. That can be utilized pretty well. But other than that, I think the Vlads would have been great in that situation, but I think they decided, okay, maybe it's a bit too late. Ags on to stunt can be very useful because he can just burrow down. So that's still a long way away for him though. He didn't go Midas. I saw he had Midas queued, but he seems to have thought better of it. And is going to have to try and work his way into that Ags.
ACG just picked up a kill onto to Repo. The question is, why was Repo so far down at this position?
He was warding?
That was way out of bounds.
Yeah, this ward got dropped like a couple of seconds ago, so I assume he just warded here, went into the tree line, thought he was going to get out, and he got scattered out by a monkey in the tree.
That was unexpected.
Yeah, but that's all right. And I mean, I think things are okay. Actually, they're going for a smoke play now. I thought they were going to slow things down, but it seems like okay, they're ready to fight. They got the diffusal blade up, like I said. This is probably a spike that they want to utilize. Drum charges are finished though on Traxian, so they need to be very careful about this. Stun's actually going to lead the way. I like this idea here, so he can just stay Vendetta. His Vendetta's running out though, and they're not finding anyone. So this is actually very costly for Sinister5. A lot of time wasted. And a lot of gold wasted.
Well, potentially they could still find the side of APG. They decided to go up the hill, but the side of APG, they're actually in the top lane, and nothing being revealed just yet, and it may actually be the call to say, all right, let's just farm out mid lane as APG do regroup. If they stayed hidden long enough, maybe the thought of them jumping into the pit would have been an option, but it wasn't there.
Oh, charge, going to be thrown at you onto Reaper. Oh, he turns around, just turns him into a chicken. Why not? And ACG throws out the Wukong command here. No jump charges.
Here it goes. Reaper needs to get himself out of there. But now ACG taking a chunk of damage. Traxian just right-clicking. There comes the macro pyre. Not much ACG can do in the meantime on the backlines. Aghanim's trying to work on the side here of APG. They do lose Aghanim's though. Stunt trying to stun out. Conspiracy gets Southpath out. Stun for the moment. There's another stun coming out from Stunt as Bob Yules is trying to focus out Fearbender. They're going to lose Conspiracy. And now Mr. Bob Yules going to run in the opposite direction, trying to confuse the side of Sin5. He gets rooted out, gets cleaned out, and only one to survive for the side of APG. It's going to be Mr. Phalanx on the Zeus, managing to get himself back to base, not even TPing out or doing a long walk of shame back to his base.
Yeah, a really good fight there for Sinister5. They'll be very happy with that, and they'll pull themselves back into that game. I think that Macropire just does so much damage actually to the Monkey King. They can control him for an extended period of time. And I think another important thing is that this Chaos Knight is pretty damn tanky at this stage of the game for a POS 4. And we saw him stand inside that Wukong's command and not too phased and still have an effect post that Wukong's command. So charge going towards the mid lane here. Maybe want to be a bit careful here, Stunt, but okay, they're going to back out. That's way too risky.
They actually backed it off.
Look at these wards actually in the mid lane. They've got pretty good vision here at the side of Sinister5.
Well, it looks like the side of Sinister5 are looking to take their next objective. They are actually showing Traxian just getting a little bit of farm happening here in the top lane, as he does have his Shadow Blade. Going to be a little bit of a threat. They're potentially building into a Silver's Edge, maybe.
Roshan has fallen to the dark.
And they do manage to clear up the Roshan. And Aghanim picks that little beauty up for himself. Going to give him that second life. And now O'Malley getting stunned. Actually blinks in, gets the carapace off, stuns out O'Malley. This could be a very... Oh my gosh, that was unbelievable. That was... Oh wow, that carapace actually just... I'm so glad I caught that. That was just such an amazing play. Blinks in to the illusionary orb with the carapace actually activated. Stunt. Quickest fingers in the biz that I've seen today. Unbelievable play. Actually just devastating O'Malley, and you can't even stop that.
Yeah, and they're going to find another objective as well as Roshan. That's 2 objectives in a short period of time. Sinister5 will be very happy with that. So high ground even a potential here. Spyback's forced. There we go.
There we go. Okay, when they're going to actually...
They throw the wards.
Okay, so this actually may be a fight here. Phalanx jumps in, 3 minutes, 3 seconds stun. They get Bob Yules coming in. Now you're going to use the Rod of Atos. Wukong command being used. Traxian, low HP, going to be right-clicked out by Conspiracy. They drop the macro pyre. Aghanim trying to get himself out of there. Does still have the Aegis. And the wards are just doing its work on this tier 3. We get the jump in here from O'Malley. But Mr. Stunt going to be able to survive through it. Very low HP. Going to get himself out of there, TPing himself and not going down. They lose Phalanx and they lose good old Traxian. They do take down the tier 3 tower. And slowly but surely, Sin5 are knocking their way through the guard of APG.
Tier 3 tower for a support CK?
For a something CK? Yeah. I mean, he's not even in a specific position.
Yeah, he's like a POS 3.5 right now. He's got Shadow Blade, he's going for a BKB, he's a hero all of a sudden again. So this is... Yeah, I suppose it's an okay... No, it's a terrible trade, actually, because they're going to lose shrines. There's actually no good in what happened for APG. So Sinister5 looking in a good position here so far, but it's definitely not a given. I mean, this spec is going Radiance now, and he's got enough, just about. So he's flying the career out.
Do you agree with the Radiance purchase at this point in time in the game?
I think it's pretty good because the opponents are grouping up, and if you can sort of get that extra bit of damage down, they do have a Veil as well, we must keep in mind, as well as the missed chances that are going to come through from that is going to be quite effective, especially up against the Mercer. So I think it's a quite viable item right now. I know it's a bit late, and a lot of people, but do you go at this late? I think it's fine. I think it's still going to have a pretty good impact, especially on something like a Shadow Shaman, who you want to get rid of very quickly. If they can get rid of him quickly, by all means, they should.
Well, Traxian was doing a little bit of hunting there. They didn't manage to actually find out Mr. Good old Bob Yules on the Spirit Breaker. They're going to try and keep this lane pushed out. In the top lane, though, we've got Mr. O'Malley hiding in the bushes. His compatriot Phalanx also in the vicinity. He's going to get himself out of there, TP on out. And the next call is going to be taking down the shrines. There goes the TP support. Rosh just becomes a little bit easier to get hold of. And the noose is slowly tightening here for the side of APG. The funny thing is, I mean, they're leading in kills 25 to 23, but Sin5 got a 2k advantage. XP, let's have a look at that, pretty much nothing in it. Is it fair to say that Sin5 have the upper hand?
Yeah, I think it is fair. They still have Aegis plus cheese on Aghanim, so they more than likely going to look on the high ground here and do some chip damage, at least with this Jakiro. Oh, actually, they're going top. They're going straight for Rax here. This needs to be defended. Good thing that there is a ward here, but there we go. Serpents are dropped.
There comes the out part. They're going to clear it out. Aghanim's just trying to keep the side of APG at bay. The jump in comes from O'Malley. The ulti from Spec. Bob Yules charges in. Fearbender Yules himself up, trying to keep himself alive. Aegis is down on the deck, but the wards are doing some work here from Mr. Repo, and the rest of the team is trying to fight it out. ACG trying to clear out these phantasms from Traxian. They lose Fearbender, but they have cleared out the one Rax, and it's the important Rax. The melee Rax is down. I'm going to continuously be putting pressure on that lane, and that is exactly what the side of Sin5 want to do. Break down the defenses slowly but surely.
Yeah, they brought Aegis down as well, which we should keep in mind, but other than that, this Ursa is going to have BKB very soon, and that is not going to be the same situation again. It's not going to be an easy target to bring down, so it's a bit of a concern, I suppose, for APG, but it also shows that they can potentially defend this high ground. They'll probably have to target someone else other than that of the Ursa, and by all means, I think they can still defend high ground all right, but now one of their lanes are going to be constantly pressured.
Well, Repo must be doing an unbelievable job, as well as Traxian. O'Malley forced to actually get himself a Lincoln Sphere just because of those single targeted spells. Generally, you want to maybe go for a Yules on the puck, but him having to pick up a Lincoln Sphere, good itemization, but I suppose not one that you want to go specifically on a puck.
I think it's okay. Like, he doesn't have Yules, which is, so he does need a defensive item. So he's going Ags, which I agree with 150%. I think it's going to be so good. He realizes, okay, this is getting, he's getting BKB, which he actually has now, and actually we can deal with that BKB as now that lockdown does go through the BKB, and you can control the Ursa pretty well. So I think they are, as long as that puck has enough time to farm up that Ags, there is going to be trouble for Sinister5 to breach the high ground.
But I think Sinister5, they are really being aggressive, trying to get themselves onto the high ground at every single cost they can. Sun5 has actually gathered in the bot lane. They do have the snakes up for Repo. They want to close the gap, get in there. They drop the sentry. They see him. ACG may go down before he does anything. And he is down. ACG contributes 0. Now Repo gets the net off. And now they lose Bob Yules. The side of Sin5 absolutely wrecking. They get the bar back on the Monkey King. And, I mean, Sin5, that sentry, wow, clutch. Before anything could happen, they get it. They get the net off. They obliterate ACG. And Mr. Bob Yules is still down for 30 seconds. Unbelievable, a little performance there. While the boys are TPing out Let's take a look at that just once again.
Yeah, this is actually a poor play coming at you from APG. They should have potentially had a sentry down themselves if they were going to go for something like this, where Monkey King walks in and tries to get his ultimate off while in vis. It's just very high risk and unnecessary death, and it cost his team quite a lot. They didn't take racks or anything, but forced out a buyback, I believe. So, yeah, buyback from ACG, in fact. So that's a huge advantage gain. 6k net worth lead now in the favor of Sinister5, who don't really have a big farming lineup, really.
Well, I mean, that bar back cost ACG pretty much his BKB. He's now going to farm that up again, plus bar back. It puts him badly on the back foot and going to allow that, going to postpone that BKB for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's a pretty big thing. I think that BKB is going to be essential for this Monkey King. I like the fact that he went for the Heaven's Hull. It's something we didn't touch on. It's an item that I expect to see a little bit more in this tournament. I don't think we've seen enough of it. It's really good at dealing with Ursa, even if he has BKB. If you drop it on him before he pops his BKB, it's going to make it irrelevant. So, make him irrelevant. So they're going to smoke up. They're going to look towards Roche Pit, but still another 2 minutes before that comes up. So I think they're going for a kill here. If they can find someone out of position, that would be great. But seems like APG are privy to some sort of movements. It could be O'Malley's death, though, if he gets caught out here.
Well, they're able to actually close in. O'Malley throws out the orb. They're going to ping it out. Can they get there? The Icebot! Oh my, that was just off. I got too excited for nothing. The Fearbender actually missed it. That would have been, see him, the blind ice path from nowhere, and not being able to actually catch a good old Mr. O'Malley, being able to actually survive through that. That was super close.
Yeah, he's got a taste of metal in his mouth after that. That if he got caught there, that was it. That CK stun afterwards, that Shadow Shaman lockdown.
I think that was pretty much GG, push high ground. That was. I mean, the barback was down on ACG. Let's have a look at barback status and seeing if he actually had it. And Mr. Puck, he would have not had it, wouldn't have been able to bar back. That would have actually put APG in a little bit, not a little bit, but a massive disadvantage.
Yeah, the only problem is that they would have to push the lanes up. All their lanes were pushed in, and that's probably why he played so defensively, realizing, okay, everyone's missing off the map. It's sort of that rule of thumb. As soon as you see, okay, everyone's missing off the map for this period of time, they must have smoked and taken the wrong route. So it's also when you are the team that has smoked, if your smoke is about halfway done and you haven't found anyone, there's a good chance you should know that your opponents have a good idea that you smoked up.
Rosh almost coming alive. They throw out the ice path. Aghanim's going to walk out of it, and Rosh is going to be up in the next 4 seconds. Does Aghanim scout it out? And not going to be his day today.
Feels bad. I think they're going to keep on scouting now. They have a very good idea. Okay, it's up within the next so many seconds. Yeah, there
you go. Fearbender walks in, finds his prize, and this is going to be the next objective.
Yeah, and I think once bashes up on the Ursa into that Abyssal Blade, there is going to be a very big problem for the Spec. But I mean, Spec's Blade Mail's pretty good, and I noticed how much damage his Dispersion was actually doing in these team fights, so they might want to be a bit careful of that. Oh, we're going to walk straight into the smoke.
But there we go, we get stunned. Trying to find the kills, the Aspath comes down, they're jumping forward. Mr. Bob Yules, he's going to get himself out of there. In the meantime, Reaper gets the net off onto O'Malley. O'Malley is down, no bar back, down for 72 seconds. This is massive for the side of Sin5. They've got themselves a kill, they've got themselves the Aegis. Could this be the moment where Sin5 pushes high ground and sends APG home? One of the golden gods in the past era has now been put to school. ACG gets stunned out by a 4-second stun. Macropai comes down, stunned, throws down the Carapace, stuns out Mr. Zeus. ACG trying to keep himself in the Wukong command, fighting under Macropai. The Aegis is down on the deck. Bob Yules charging in, finding himself a Fearbender. And now Aghanim jumps out trying to find Bob Yules, going to right-click him down. Conspiracy runs out. They're going to actually turn it around and get themselves out of there. They don't want to force the bar back out on to good old stunt, and they decide to actually retreat. They burnt up the Aegis, and the boys from APG defend. Unbelievable defense, considering that they didn't even have the puck.
I think a bit of an error on the part of Aghanim. He could have potentially preemptively cast that BKB. I think he actually got halberd on himself, so that slowed him down, and that meant that ACG could just sort of kite around in that area. Having the gem up on the CK was really good there, but unfortunately they just couldn't pop that monkey quick enough. So Monkey King is a bit of a nuisance on this high ground. He's been using his Wukong's command quite well to defend the high ground.
Well, that was still an amazing defense. I mean, you're sitting with 4 players plus an Aegis. You're literally going up against 6 players from the side of Sin5 because of the Aegis. And, I mean, APG is being able to hold it. So maybe a little bit of a premature praise party, but now Drexian is going to try and spot out O'Malley. He's a little bit too quick on the blink there. O'Malley's going to get himself out of there, phases out and gets himself into the base. So no efforts there for the side of Sin5.
Yeah, and O'Malley's so far away from that Ags, actually. I think they're going to rely heavily on ACG to hold their high ground right now. And the side of Sinister5, they've got Ags complete here on Nyx, which is really good. He can sit on that low ground and just cast out his spells constantly and being an absolute nuisance. So ACG, he's going to need that BKB potentially for the next fight, because the lockdown that he's going to be having is going to be a bit of an issue.
Well, we do see good old Conspiracy on the spec, picked himself up a heart as well. This is just going to make him a little bit harder to be brought down. ACG runs in, O'Malley jumps in, gets aggressive, throws down the coil. There's the Wukong command, but the Aghanim has popped out the BKB, trying to deal with ACG, and now we've got the help from Conspiracy jumping there, trying to deal with Aghanims, and he pops the cheese, trying to get himself out of the Wukong command. O'Malley's in the corner here. Do they decide to jump back? They're going to actually try and bring down Stunt, and he's on very low HP, but he has actually ulted up. He's in the ground hiding, but in the meantime, bot lane, they lose a bot lane of Rax, as Mr. Repo being super sneaky. Bob Yules tries to jump in. ACG has to retreat. Traxian also looking at the retreat movement. They lose Repo, but he has done his job, and Aghanim's trying to try getting himself out of there. Can he survive through it? He's actually going to ulti up, trying to right-click down Conspiracy, but he's an absolute tank at the moment with the Radiance, with the Heart, and he is going to eventually go down. They have cleared out the bottom lane of Rax. They have got the top lane of Melee Rax. The next port of call is going to be the mid lane for the side of Sin5, and then things are going to soon heat up.
Yeah, Sin5, it was a decent trade for them. Yeah, they got bot Rax, but it's a lot of gold that they gave over to their opponents there. So, I mean, the more that they get, the better. They got BKB complete now on the Monkey King, so he's going to be able to survive a little bit, but he doesn't have buyback. So if they can punish him for that, that would be nice, but them being down now is going to buy a little bit of time for ACG to find some farm around the map and see what sort of impact he can have. So, yeah, I mean, Bob Yules went hand on Midas, which is, I was actually going to touch on that a little bit earlier. Very greedy. It's sort of like he was expecting them to go late and didn't change his mind at any stage. So we're going to see if it pays off, but if they can buy a lot of time, they do have a spec. So going into the late game, I mean, spec is one of those heroes that you just can't deal with at that stage. So Sinister5, they still got a bit of a clock that's ticking away. They need to shut this game down.
What is that clock timer? What is the timing that we expect that listen, there's no more hope for Sin5? But the thing is, you've got an Ursa, you have got a CK on your team that could inevitably convert himself to become a core. He's trying to pick himself up a heart as well, and going to be really difficult to deal with very soon.
Yeah, but one of the things is that Spec is just a monster in the late game. You don't want to allow him to get his next time. He's actually going for the butterfly, which I like. I don't imagine Ursa is going to rush MKB anytime soon. So once he's got that butterfly online, he's going to be almost impossible to kill. He's going to have Radiance mischance as well as the butterfly mischance. It's a pretty big issue to deal with. So I think APG are not feeling too uncomfortable considering they down two racks or entire bot racks and a half a top rack. So they're not that bad. They're not bad right now.
Well, ACG spotting himself a target here. Bob Yules says, I want a bit of this party. And now Mr. ACG jumps in, throws down the Wukong command, rips apart the repo. The coil comes down, going to keep the 3 players here from Sin5 in place. The TP comes out from O'Malley, because in the meantime, what's happening here is Traxian trying to be a little bit of a backdoor, forces back the side of ACG, and the sun comes out from Conspiracy. This could be an absolutely dead spec. They found a big kill here, cancelling out the TP. There's the ice pass, going to keep him in place, and a lot to bring him down, but they do. And no bar back on the spec. This could very well be the opportunity that the side of Sin5 needed. They bring down Conspiracy as Traxian forced back the side of APG to defend their base.
That is not a good trade. That is not a good trade at all. So they all backed out to sort of defend against Traxian's sneaky beaky plays, and then they get punished by their spec dying because they left him there. That is bad. I think that was bad communication coming out from APG, and they get punished, well, badly for it.
It seems that Sin5 is like a puppeteer, is like dance for me, APG, dance for me.
Yeah.
And completely forced APG to make a couple of maneuvers, leaving Conspiracy behind. I think it took a little bit longer than I'd imagine, and TP to the same building as opposed to TP to a different building, and couldn't actually get that the shortest TP cooldown.
So that's sort of a common thing. You need to communicate it. We got to get our carry out first, and then we get our supports out. It's a bit of an error, and they should have communicated that a little bit better, but no buyback for 20 seconds here. Spec, or has he reached it? No, he's still 90 away, so they can potentially look for something, but they probably fear that he's going to buy back and potentially...
Oh, wow, that is a hero for you. Reaper runs in, drops the wards, but Bob Yules punishes him hardcore. ACG throws down the command, and they're going to try and clear out those wards as quick as possible. The coil is also used as well. Aghanims has BKB'd up. Aspar's been thrown down as well as the Macropire. Nothing more that can actually happen here. Sin5 needs to get out. They've burnt everything. Conspiracy throws out the dagger, not going to find anyone, not going to slow down anyone. And they're going to get themselves the hell on out of there. And nothing traded. Well, they actually did lose Fearbender as well as good old Shadow Shaman, but APG hold and defend once again.
Yeah, that's really good for them. And I click on ACG and I see what he has queued, and I'm like, okay, sure, you do that.
That's a nice play there, my boo.
Yeah, so they got some chip damage to a range racks, but they trade their core Jakiro. Oh, Spirit Breaker takes a tumble. And I mean, Traxian's a core now. Oh, Stun's dead.
Oh, this is going to be... Oh, but the Carapace is actually going to do some work. Actually going to dig himself into the ground, but Phalanx is there with the lightning from above, going to be able to reveal him for the moment, and he's going to go down from the likes of APG and the boys.
Yeah. I mean, Traxian is close to a heart right now on that pause for CK, so it's pretty good. I wanted to see the Ags. Oh, I wanted to see the Ags so badly. He could just make multiple illusions of like Ursa maybe, but they don't really have a good stats hero. If they had a better stats hero, then he might have considered it, but this game, unfortunately, I don't think he will.
Oh, well, this is the vision of the Radiant. They have no idea that this is happening. In the mid lane, we do have Traxian trying to show himself, going to maybe put a little bit of pressure here. And yeah, it's getting to the point in the game where we're 46 minutes in, where timings and items start becoming super relevant. And the Rosh has been taken down, and that is another life for Aghanims, and going to be very difficult to set him down. And I suppose this is what's giving them the advantage, is just that extra life. They just can't deal with it from the side of APG. Well, they've been defending, but they've been losing slowly and slowly every time they push it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're whittling their opponents down. However, Spec is still doing alright. He hasn't actually got any more items since we last spoke about him, but it's still a hero that you have to fear, especially if he could potentially be hitting 25 soon. He gets an extra 400 health. He's a difficult individual to bring down. Ursa's going to be having a tough time to bring him down as well because he doesn't have an MKB. So, yeah, Conspiracy, however, playing very safe here, hiding in the tree line in the bot lane. And,
Look, just have a look at this net worth graph here, please. 50 minutes into the game, 34 and 30 with a net worth difference of almost 300 almost in it. Absolutely ridiculous. Both teams are sitting toe and toe. The question is, who wins the late game draft?
I definitely feel APG.
You've told me Spec is an absolute monster, but I mean we've got Ursa, we've got CK that has been an absolute monster, and
this will come in handy.
It seems that like Spec is just an absolute beast, and there's got to be some form of draft that has just been a little bit better picked.
I think, you see, as much as CK is going to scale now as a core hero that he's become, the Jakiro has already stopped scaling, so he's sort of falling off. And Spec Zeus is always impactful. He's always going to provide you with vision with his ultimate. If he gets Ags up, which he is going for next, is going to provide a lot more damage output. O'Malley's Ags is a really big pickup here because it's going to be able to control the BKBs up, which is something that most people are going to have going into the late game. I still favor APG a lot.
Look at this. Look at how they're prioritizing good old Mr. Reaper. Yeah, look what he's got locked and loaded. He's bringing it out. He's going to say, listen, I'm going to sacrifice buyback, boys. You just get me close enough, and I'm going to do the job myself.
Yeah, this is actually pretty big. If he can jump up, get those open wards, and they make sure that they don't lose creep. I think this is one thing I believe they're lacking is a pipe. If they could sort of pipe up the...
They do on good old Mr. Reaper. He has actually got...
Oh, yes, okay. So he's got pipe. He needs to pipe up the wave, though. I think the last time they didn't pipe up the wave, and it just got destroyed very quickly by the Puck and the Zeus. So if they can get the pipe onto the wave, that means it's going to be a lot harder to bring the wave down. That means the backdoor protection won't be up. And those walls can do a lot more damage. Here we go. This is a spiking item once again picked up here by Repo. And they're going to smoke up and see if they can do something with this. So they don't have creep, though. But the mid lane is pushing in. So this is a pretty good thing for them.
As you see Sin5 in their natural habitat, they are looking for a little bit of a Gia caught out in the woods. They do throw out the ulti from Zeus. They do know that they're missing off the map, so they know that Sin5 is looking for something. They immediately jump onto the mid lane of Rax. And here they go. The Icebar's trying to focus out ACG. It's going to work. The backup player comes down. Wukong command being used, but the wards are down. Trying to focus out the poor Rax. They lose two of their players here for the side of Sin5. Aegis is on the deck. They're going to keep Aghanims out. He's going to blink out immediately, trying to clear out these wards. And they may lose this lane or this melee Rax. No, they don't. They clear it out really quickly. The charge has been used by Mr. Bob Yules. Going to be stunned out here as well from the Icepath. Fearbender trying to keep himself protected. And now Mr. Stunt going to try and slow. They're going to get the bonus like onto Fearbender. He goes down and is going to pay the side of APG. Charging forth, my friends, as the two players from the side of Sin5 going to try and get themselves out of there. They do have buyback on the two dead heroes. Do APG force the buybacks as these racks still stand with very, very low HP?
Yeah, one of the things is melee racks is going to heal up, so they're not in a worse place by any means. They can't afford to allow these cards to do too much damage to their range racks. As they
found out Conspiracy using the Carapace. They're going to stun him out. Can he get out of there? He doesn't have ulti. He's got very little bit of HP. Stunt gets the ulti off, trying to get under there. Uses the Carapace again. Gets down and brought down Aghanims. Just stacking up those Blade Furies. And they go down. They do have buyback on Conspiracy as well. So Conspiracy a little bit of out of position there. Shouldn't have actually gone down.
Yeah, I mean, he's tanky, yeah, for sure, but you don't want to really 1v1 into Aghanim. I mean, you want your team to sort of deal with Aghanim and Spec deal with the rest. So finding himself in that situation is not favorable by any means.
And while we've got a bit of opportunity, while the game has actually stalled out, let's take a look at that once again as we see how Conspiracy
This is really good. He stayed in Vendetta, used his Spike Carapace while he's still in Viz, so he can't really be scattered out, and quickly lost all the mana of Conspiracy. He just had no way for him to escape. He jumped forward again, got another Spike Carapace. The bashes were just there for Aghanim, and that's a really nice kill for them.
Right, well, looking at another defense coming up here for the side of APG. They do have the buyback on Spec. They're going to try and force it out at the minimum. O'Malley blinks in. There comes out the ulti from Zeus. Wukong command being used out. They're going to lose Repo. Not even getting close enough to actually drop the snakes. That is a big loss here for the side of Sin5. They're going to lose Aghanims as well. And good defense coming out from APG. They do manage to clear out the melee racks with Traxian, getting on behind there and punishing the side of APG for lifting their eyes for a second. And two buybacks available on Sin5. And they've now lost 2 lanes of racks. If they could have potentially gotten that top lane, maybe sent Reaper on a scouting mission just to drop the snakes there. this would have been a very difficult game for APG to come back from.
Yeah, they're in a very, very dire position now. This range racks has never been more important. If they lose that, the creep are going to just be pushing their lanes in constantly. They need to sort of make a move now, make sure that their lanes are constantly pushed out. They are winning the team fights, though. That is the big plus they have. Oh, mid lane, though, looking for more. Spike Carapace, going to slow down ACG. Charge, he's going to get heals into the air. BKB on stun, so not going to take too much damage. Ice Path, no, poorly placed, unfortunately. Not going to really have much, but the Magpie going to be used to zone them a little bit here. Bobules needs to be careful. He's taking a lot of damage, and seems like they should back themselves on Aperture. They are locking down the spec for a tremendous amount of time, but he is extremely tanky.
Look how hard the side of APG is trying to force those buybacks. And the boys, Traxian, Aghanims, they're going to say, no, not today. I trust in my boys. Fearbender, going to defend the high ground, throws out the Jewel Breath as well as the Ice Path. Stunt has got his burrow being used, but there's the Wukong's command. Going to force Stunt out. The curl's being used as Bobules does get sheeped out. They're going to use the coil again. Snake's been dropped. They're going to lose Bobules. They got the net onto Mr. Phalanx. The gem is on the deck. And now the side of APG running away with the tail between their legs as they jump onto the high ground. ACG needs to TP back to base and get himself out of there as Sin5 defend and get that defense on. Did they actually use the buybacks on the two players? They didn't. Still available. So the amazing defense coming out from Stunt as well as Fearbender. It seems that we do have the opportunity to see that again. Let's bring it up really quickly.
Yeah, so, I mean, it looks okay. Spec is pretty tanky. He's looking to the high ground here. The next position himself pretty well. Got a great Ravage down. Dual Breath's going to slow down their attack speed. We can see how slowly that Spec is swinging away. Throws out the BKB. The Wukong's commanders are right. It only really does anything to stun. The Dream Coil is pretty good, but they still manage to control them so well. And yet another Ravage comes through from that next and controls them up so well. Secures their kill and saves them the high ground.
Oh wow, they forced out the glyph from the side of APG. Traxian trying to man mode it, trying to bring it down. Going up against Conspiracy. Could Traxian actually do this? Try to backdoor this lane in the meantime. Absolute chaos happening in the mid lane. They do manage to bring it down while this is all happening. Conspiracy does take down Traxian, but APG are down 3 heroes. They've lost a good old Traxian on the CK, but this may very well be the go command for the side of Sin5. Could this be it? Could Sin5 send home APG? Reaper needs to get them. He can't drop the snakes. And now Aghanims tries to clear out that Rax and Stunt throws out the Carapace. This is going to put APG at a deficit of a 0-1 in this best of 3. Fearbender needs to get out. Megas are on the deck. And now APG need to defend, and they call it APG lose game 1 as this is going to be a best of 3. Sin5, what did you have between this morning and now?
Man, I mean, Sin5 performed this morning. But this was a great performance. They went with the sort of draft that was early game, and they take it to 56 minutes against a Spec and win. It shouldn't happen that way, right? That shouldn't happen. But
well, that Traxian holding Conspiracy back in the base, not allowing him to actually TP in and get to the mid lane, to actually hold him in place. I mean, it just allowed the side of... it was basically a 4-4, but without Conspiracy, where Traxian, the support, was keeping him busy. Easy.
Yeah, I think Traxian did a great job, and I think Sinister5's draft just bamboozled their opponents a little bit, and I like it. I like change. I like something different. Man. Sinister5 are bringing it to the table here.
Right. Well, we'll see you guys shortly for game number 2. In the meantime, back to the panel.
Wow! Oh wow! Sinister5, possibly the most determined team I've ever seen, have done it again and again and again until they got to this point. Now they've done it again, and they're 1 game away from sticking in this. They're like some sort of rash you can't get rid of.
I think like Scorpio hit the nail on the head. Their draft, they did something very different. Like I was also expecting them to be running this mid Ursa and safe lane CK, but then changing the Jakiro to put him in the mid position. Like what? The mid was such a disaster for Sinister5, for APG at the very beginning.
Can I just say one thing? It takes the biggest pair of kahunas to try level 1 Rosh with that lineup. Like, I was like, oh, well, they've lost the game now already. Like, come on, go.
But they didn't think so, and they were right. So, before we start dissecting this game, there are a few announcements I need to make. behind me, backstage, is busy playing EN and XD, a similar kind of story. First game has gone down 44-3, 30 minutes, Energy winning that one. XD looking to take another one off Energy's plate. They do scrim together often, so they should be able to do it. I still have faith in my boys in XD. However, they're not the only winners, EN and Sin5. Joining them will be CTICC. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. You have won the Fractal Horns of the Inner Abysm, the Terrorblade Arcana. Thank you for watching our stream and thanks for your support.
Actually, I think his in-game name is Session, I believe. I do have him on...
Session, yeah.
I do have him on my friends list, so I remember. And I remember him entering into the 1v1 tournament. I also could not pronounce that name. I'm like, I'm so sorry, dude. Like, but yeah, dude, good luck and, well, good job in winning, I guess.
Congratulations. So, all the congratulations at the moment going the way of Sin5. What did they do right? How did they put it off? And just like Scarpy said, it should never, ever, ever have happened. 50-something minutes, Spectre in the game. How are you winning?
We were talking about this actually during the game, and actually we kind of both agreed that Spectre is kind of a trash hero for this meta. It's like extremely slow, but the main thing is that like we saw after Spectre got Radiance, right? Normally you're used to a situation where once Spectre gets the Radiance, even if it's not at a point where it destroys the game, it's still a game-changing moment. Didn't feel like it actually did anything. Like that entire game, Spectre never felt really relevant. Like there was no fights where they won because there was the Spectre. It was always about the damage from Zeus, the control from the Monkey King, him using the Wukong's command and the Boundless Strike, but Spectre was just there.
And it's also the fact that there's an Exorcist on the opposite team with Radiance and Spike Carapace. It just doesn't pan well.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to turn Radiance off at one point just to get away, and then he ended up dying because of that. Anyway, and then there's also the fact that you had the support CK taking on 1v1. I mean, Spectre won that fight inevitably, but Spectre got down to like that much HP against support CK at like 6 slotted. You know, it just felt like he didn't have that much impact on the game. Like that's why me and Snare said we were discussing it to see what was going on. I also feel like the Radiance came a bit too late to make any real significance to the game. You had no map control, so you couldn't really do what Spectres do. You didn't have a Manta, so you couldn't split push and escalate in his farm with the Radiance. Look, Blade Mail, Diffusal Blade is something you do go for generally on a Spectre first, but you need to back it up with a Manta if you want to escalate and farm with the Radiance. You need to have Blink heroes on the opposite team to stop them from doing supports that are squishy that you can just run down. I feel like he also to use his ulti to disengage more than get the kills and catch up as well. Something just didn't gel with the Spectre pick.
Look, I mean, we can dissect the game if we want, but ultimately there's a way bigger story happening here. Just 1 year ago, the boys sitting to my left from APG were this close to being top of the log. This close. They in fact were taking games off BVD, which at the time was the uncontested champion for 5 long years.
Knocked them down to the loser bracket,
And they are this close to being the first one out.
Yeah, there was for me the biggest story is the fact that this is not the biggest surprise. Like we're talking to most of the players, and if you were to ask them, would you be surprised that APG in their current form was going out to last place, and most of them would say no, and that's what? Yeah. How is this even possible? Why is this happening? But yet here we are, and we're in a situation where if we honestly just looking at that game and just looking at how they drafted and looking how Sin5 played around APG, I would confidently say that Sin5 have the actual upper advantage here. They have the upper hand. They have they have the greater confidence in themselves to actually win this game than APG.
Look, it's not like APG lost horribly to Sin5. I mean, as we were stating, I mean they had like almost 3 Raxes down. They had 1 ranged Rax left, but they were only 5k net worth behind Sin5. It's not like they got absolutely ruffle stumped. I mean, it took forever for Sin5 to eventually beat them. It was slow siege upon slow siege. They had the heroes to do it, but it's, you know, the Jakiro, obviously the wards from Shadow Shaman. I mean, Stunt was absolutely phenomenal on that Nyx Assassin. I mean, he was just there at the right points. I mean, Spike Carapacing, many Ravages coming here and there, sacrificing his own body so that Aghanim could get away on the Ursa more than half, not the time. But it was more the slow siege thing, because you know, for me, they just weren't that far behind. Like you said, 5k net worth lead while they're almost 3 Raxes down. So it's not like they just rolled over and died or got whitewashed. APG still fought really, really well.
They definitely did. They're like, sure, they're fallen, right? We did describe them as the fallen heroes, right? But heroes don't, it's not like you lose your powers all of a sudden when you fall to that level. You still have your powers. And we saw they are still that good. They are still really good. It's just they're not able to convert that into victory. And that's the thing that always separates good players from great ones. Just being
Never
able
say
to
never,
win.
because we still have
We still do have another game.
Yeah, this is a
Potentially
best of
two.
three.
potentially 2 games to go. Yeah.
This is a best of 3 after all. Anything could happen in the next game. But going into the next game knowing that you've just lost after putting so much effort in, it can be demoralizing, but this is where APG excels because, like you said, they're the lower bracket kings and they don't let a loss deter them, even if they've lost horribly or they've worked so hard and still lose anyway in the end.
Well,
so we'll be able
let's
to see.
imagine a horrible future where APG does in fact lose yet again to Sin5. Do we see this team of APG ever coming together again? Is this potentially the last time we will see
The team as a whole may disband, like the MGO if they're around, obviously, but this incarnation of APG might just disband because they've since Adestam left, they've tried a lot of different things, right? They've moved, they've shuffled their players, they've had pop stars come in, they've had other older players leave the team, but nothing's worked since.
In fact, there's so much on the line.
APG as it stood last year, 2016, is the best they've ever been. I mean, they were a new MGO entering in the land for the first time, 2016 Masters, and they did exceptionally well. But since then, they've had a bunch of roster changes, and as we said, since those 5 players were together, and then the roster changes happened, they just haven't been the same since then. And I think if they come back next year or later in the year, maybe with a few roster changes again, or they stick to the same players now, they just have more time to work together and gel better, then we might see a different APG, but by no means I think these players are just going to give up.
Yeah. All right. Well, the draft for Game 2 is underway, and obviously Aperture Gaming going for a last Hail Mary. We've seen expert teams go for cheese strats and silly things right at their last gasp. Do you think that's going to be the case for APG?
Nah, they don't strike me as a... Well, actually, it might be. I think it could be that YOLO type of situation where you're just like, well, okay, we came in with it's all or nothing. We came in with these strats, they didn't work out, so whatever. And it's not like they lost a very long, drawn-out game. And also, these are all new bans. Like, these... with the exception, like all these heroes have been banned before, but not in this particular order. So already APG is setting a new tone for how they want to approach this game. They're not going to be. I think they're going to be taking Sinister5 a lot more seriously.
You disagree?
Last game it was exactly the same bans coming out, just flip-sided.
Is APG playing on dire side? Okay, never mind. Okay.
It was exactly the same, but it's also they're preventing cheat strats. So, but I also feel like APG is going to want to take Sinister5 as APG to prove themselves because they literally just. You know, it was very even, as we saw. It was just slow siege 1 at the end of the day. It was 5k net worth ahead. But I think they're going to want to not beat Sinister5 with a cheesy strategy and rather beat them as APG. Show them what we've got.
Oh, they go for Void again.
Yeah.
So is this Conspiracy Void?
Yeah, Conspiracy is good at that hero. That's the thing. He's. I think we just saw
We saw, come on, be honest, we saw literally one mistake.
One mistake, but it was the big mistake.
It was the mistake, which signified
There's just certain, the thing is, there's certain heroes in Dota where if you pick them, right, you actually can't make any mistakes. So the mistake will lose you the game. Like, we've seen it twice this tournament with the Void, where he was playing well, but then made like 2 mistakes, lost the game. One big one, but a couple of smaller ones, I think. And then, like, even Hunter as well, playing on his Meepo, made, like, it wasn't going great for his team, right? But he made one particular mistake where he went into the bottom lane, poofed, and then died instantly afterwards. So these are heroes where you make a mistake and the team, you lose the game instantly. So as a drafter, you also have to take that into account. Like, do I want to give my player who's not necessarily as confident on LAN, who might make mistakes, do I want to give him a hero that a mistake could lose us the game entirely?
But you saying that makes me think that the captain does think that Conspiracies can rise and does rise to the challenge. I was fairly happy with his performance on his first...
It's also not just that, it's also his first time on LAN, so give him heroes that he's comfortable playing.
Yeah, and
that's
I think
another aspect. That's another aspect that you have to consider as a drafter. You don't want to give your carry player something he's uncomfortable playing on his first LAN because he's going to underperform because he's going to be too scared to make those calls to go in.
So there's a little bit of a swap here. Rasta goes to APG this time around, and Sinister5. They have Kunkka Jakiro again, so could still be Fearbender Jakiro, could be support Jakiro for either Nabi.
Well, we don't know because they just clearly they just do things that we don't even.
Sorry, top net worth Jakiro just blew me out of the water. I was sitting in the audience going, huh?
That was so great.
Like head scratcher. What's going on here?
That was the best thing to watch. Honestly, I was having such a great time watching that Jakiro play. So. This Rasta does also give them more damage into the chronosphere. It also does allow them. I feel okay if you have Rasta, it probably is a safe lane Void then, so that you can just keep someone in place. Hopefully, you hit them long enough for a bash to come out.
Yeah, but also, if he does get to level 25, very unlikely, he's also got that double damage ether shock, basically. So that, and if, it is an AoE, so if they do get everyone bunched up in a little chrono, I mean, that's 600 to 800 damage more, give or take, happening just on the Shadow Shaman alone, depending on the hero's magic resistance and all of those good things. But it is a deadly combo, and also the fact that, Shadow Shaman obviously can get farm, and without having to, he can push lanes out, blink into the trees, drop a ward or two, it's just, he's a good hero at split pushing as well, effectively. So it's for me, really good support. But here's something we haven't seen this tournament yet, and we've been waiting to see it, and that's an Abaddon.
I've been wanting to see Abaddon. Abaddon is extremely good versus this Rasta. Rasta was probably very sad to see Abaddon come out. Because you'll jump on a hero, right? Get off the Hex Shackle combo, and then, this Abaddon hero just comes on, presses W, and your entire work is gone, and you're like, oh, great. Yeah. This is nice, this is great. So, also, Abaddon Kunkka, this means that they can actually go super aggressive into the off lane.
Definitely.
I don't know, I think this might still be mid-Jig hero. But what you can do, if they don't want to go mid-Jig hero, if you run Jig hero or Abaddon together, you put the Aphotic Shield on Jig hero, right? And then Jig hero just runs to the carry, puts out Liquid Fire. There's literally nothing that can be done about it.
I just want to put a name out there. Weaver. Abaddon Weaver. That lane is classic combo. Do you think we might see that here now?
Weaver's not that great versus the faceless for it, and it's you get into a situation where you get chronoed, and no matter what stage of the game it is, you just die. There's a squishy Weaver, so I doubt they'll pick it versus but we'll see. They do have this Abaddon, and they can have Kunkka as well to drop the ghost ship inside the chronosphere, stops the faceless void from being able to attack anyway.
Yeah.
So that may be a route they consider.
That's just for me. When I ever see an Abaddon, I'm like, oh, where's the Weaver? It's just such a good lane, and there's also the fact that it can run over pretty much any lane that it's because you can Weaver's pretty evasive, but then add an Abaddon to that as well, you just can't kill him. It is a ridiculous combo. But here we see a Monkey King yet again. Seems to be a trend for the day.
So yeah, this actually is going to be
one of their favorites.
This is basically the hero of the tournament, right? Because APG played it, Dave played it. Who else played it earlier today?
Oh wow.
I think it was Pulse.
Could have been Pulse.
I feel like it was Pulse. Yeah.
Feel it in your bones.
But having this, no, it was XTC, yes.
Yes, it was XTC.
It was in the off lane. Scarnet was playing that.
Yes.
But anyway, the Monkey King in this game, so we've seen mid Monkey King, we've seen off lane Monkey King. It was far more successful in the off lane, I feel.
Yeah.
Then we saw it mid. Although this game they have various offlane options, I don't think they want to use it in that way. And probably Jakiro goes mid again, so they can have this roaming Monkey King. But it would be double roam with Kunkka. That being said, they don't have any major team fight right now. They have the boat, and they have the Wukong's command, but they don't have that they don't have Epicenter, or they don't have a Chronosphere or something like that.
We could see old carry Abaddon. I mean, Loda, the last time I saw someone play carry Abaddon and did it really efficiently was Loda back in TI, and he actually really wrecked with the thing, but I don't see a carry Abaddon here. It looks Monkey King for me. Yeah, you finally get your Queen of Pain, huh? But Monkey King for me, in the role of a roamer, he's way better suited for that, especially since, he got nerfed. He used to, when he first came out, he was a mid, then he came out as a carry, and now he's been used as a roamer, and that's where he literally fits the role, especially with a Kunkka.
A little bird just told me that Sinister5 is actually well known for casting a Jakiro on position 1.
Yeah, that's something they do core Jig-Jack. It works really well.
It's also very risky because a lot of carries will out-carry. It's something you have to win, generally speaking, have to win in the first 30, 35 minutes, even 20 minutes sometimes. But obviously in this game, in the last game, they could take it all the way to late game because they had other heroes that really did scale well late game. That was the big difference in the draft.
Well, do you think APG has an answer to that?
Right now they seem fine. They have quite a lot of damage. The only hero that they really struggle to deal with at this point in the game is this Abaddon and maybe the Monkey King. But overall, APG, they've got 3 heroes actually with fairly decent escapes, a ton of damage. They've got some push potential. They have a bunch of team fight burst damage, and they have a strong controlling spell with their Faceless Void. So I think right now they're fine. They don't have to be worried too much about what Sinister5 is doing. I'm kind
of worried about this Queen of Pain though in the initial stages of the game because of the Kunkka roaming, X-masking the spot. She can't really blink out of that, so it's going to be hard for her until she gets obviously a Lincoln's or a Yule's or something like that.
They might just park this they can just park the Rasta in the mid lane. Looking at the way the Sinister5 has drafted so far, they're probably going to be running some form of 2 lanes. So if APG read that, they can say, alright, fine, leave SK with 1 Well, SK and the Void can just stick top, and then Rasta can stick middle to make sure that she doesn't die. Oh my god.
Nice.
Jeez, this is such a good pick right now. How do they deal with Death Prophet, actually?
They don't.
They don't. Not
And I think they ran the mind game, because I'm pretty sure that APG was expecting them to be still running Fearbender on the Jakiro middle. Instead, they switch it up, get the DP instead.
That's some serious terrorism tactics right there.
That actually cheat. I don't know. I still feel like I like APG's draft a little bit more. It seems more safe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this DP hero
I love that
is
DP.
incredibly
Right
difficult to deal with. Yeah.
Nice little sucker punch. Okay, I'm going to need final predictions.
I'm still going to stick with Sinister5, but AP's
Is
draft...
APG out?
I think APG is out, but I think the Sinister5 draft... the APG draft this time is a lot better than it was.
User?
I'm changing my mind. Sinister5. DP is like super good. DP is like super good. So DP
All right.
ever too good.
Okay, so
Come sit with
without
me.
any further ado, as time has finally run out, has time run out for the boys of APG? We shall soon find out. To you, Jabba and Scarpy. Enjoy.
Well, it is a great evening thus far. To all the fans still out in the stadium, to keep your team's heart buzzing and revving. Shout out to you guys for keeping your asses in the seat. It is going to be APG versus Sinister5. Can the boys of Sinister5 send home APG? Do APG manage to hold on for a little bit longer? I am Jabba, joined by none other than Mr. Scarpy himself.
Yeah, so, you bring up a very good point. APG could be going home. It's unbelievable, right? So last year, they take down the biggest giants in the SA scene. Fast forward a few months, they could potentially be kicked out of the tournament first by a team that qualified through, who wasn't even in Masters, who had to qualify through other events, who haven't been to LAN together even. This team, Sinister5, is sort of, it's like an American football movie I'm watching here. They just sort of practiced, they worked really hard to get to where they are, and all of a sudden they just competing with the best and bringing them down and slaying these giants. I don't know what more to add on the back of that.
This is like that David and Goliath moment, when APG's got an amazing reputation, hasn't been on form of late, but Sinister5 doing it for the boys. And something else I want to add to your rundown there is they're playing with a stand-in as well. Stunt's not their normal player, and still doing really, really well.
Yeah, they did, however, put a lot of time in with stunts in their team. They sat together, they practiced quite a lot together, so they did come prepared with stunt in a sense, but they haven't been playing a large portion of this year with him. He's pretty much a new fixture just for this Masters series. So here we go. Dual lane mid, of course. Why not?
If not, why not? It's going to put pressure on both the mids, but who wins the mid? The DP or the Queen of Pain?
Death Prophet's just so strong, and Bob Yules wants to try to keep pressure on him, but he's a melee hero. He's going to be dealing with the Spirit Siphon, which is really a big problem. Queen of Pain, however, can stay away, did pick up the blink early. But Traxian does have X marks the spot on early, so if they do get a decent amount of damage down onto ACG, he could just X him back, and ACG could be in a little bit of a pickle, at least take an unfavorable trade here.
So they really want to try and secure the mid for both teams here, committing both the heroes, Traxian on the Kunkka. Which I need to say, previous game, the CK that Traxian played, I believe personally, in my heart, that Traxian keeping Conspiracy locked down in the top lane so they didn't lose that top lane of Rax was the ultimate winning factor for the side of Sin5.
Yeah, he played really well. He had a tremendous net worth. He was just, he just played extremely well. For something that's unorthodox, he was 18k net worth at the end of that game.
For
he
a
had
position
hard
4.
drums, yeah, and he didn't go Midas, which is pretty crazy actually if you think about it. If you went Midas, I would have said, oh, okay, yeah, he's prepared for the late game, but he didn't. He just did a great job. So he's now managed to find himself level 2. He is sapping a little bit of XP away here from Fearbender, but they do have a decent kill potential here. If they can get Siphoning, X marks the spot down at the same time, ACG is going to be in a little bit of a pickle. Maybe want to secure level 3 onto Fearbender so he can get 2 charges onto that Spirit Siphon.
Well, he is actually leaving Fearbender alone just so that he can actually get max XP in the lane. Bot lane going to be O'Malley on that Darks here, going to go up against Aghanim. Now we've seen Monkey King being played in all sorts of different positions, as well as the Jakiru. the most popular, being the off lane. O'Malley taking a chunk of damage as good old Aghanim's right clicks him down. Looking in the mid lane, we do have Mr. Bob Yules supporting ACG a little bit longer. We do have Kunka nowhere near, probably going to pick himself up a TP, try and see if he needs to support mid. He does have a TP, should Fearbender get the harassment from APG.
Yeah, Fearbender has definitely been standing out quite heavily here for Sinister5. He's been playing all sorts of different positions. He's now playing a tank, more of a core role, which I'm used to seeing him in. But this is, I mean, I don't blame them for wanting to put some emphasis on him. Now he's got level 3. I do expect the Kunka to maybe make a rotation there, as there is a potential spike here. So they could maybe find a kill on Queen of Pain, or at least force him out of lane before the 5-minute mark. That means he has to go all the way back to base. If he can do that, that would be great. But bot lane now, they looks like they want to look for a gank here onto Aghanim. Sand King has moved his around down here. I don't know if they saw him, but now they will spike Carapace.
But they do have 2 rounds here for the side of Sin5. This could have been a little bit of a bad play here for the boys of APG. Bob Yules gonna go down. He does. First blood being drawn out by Draxian. Aghanim's being able to avoid the onslaught here of Mali. Does have the Iron Shell. Aghanim's needs to be a little bit careful here and taking a little bit of damage. Deciding to actually surge out will be O'Malley. And he may have been able to get the counter trade. Probably lost his life. Would have lost his life, but maybe been able to tie it out at least a little bit.
It's just so scary fighting into a level 2 Jengu Mastery. He's getting 30% lifesteal from each hit. It's also a buffed amount of damage by 100 bonus damage. So he's stealing a lot of HP at that stage. So it's super risky to take that sort of trade. So I think it was a safe thing for him to do his run on that and not take that risk. Yes, he might have maybe got the kill, but Fog of War could just not be on your side at that in those sort of situations.
Top lane, a little bit of a play here on Stunt. Going to try and tip himself out. It's going to happen. No bashes for you today, Mr. Conspiracy, as waited for all those spells to be used out by good old Mr. Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, so this is actually something I wanted to talk about, and they were talking about it at the panel. Conspiracy, he had a little bit of a poor performance on his Void earlier today. He's definitely got something to prove now, and I don't doubt that he can play a crazy Void. I think maybe it was the pressure of the LAN, like they touched on. So again, he's got a lot to prove, and we'll see how that pans out for him. But main though, Xbox Spot has been used. Torrent is also going to catch, but Blink is online. But again, they're going to force ACG out, but the 5-minute mark is there, so he can shrine if necessary.
So we were talking about it behind the scenes, where's the draft was going on. The reason of picking a Queen of Pain into a already secured Kunka, do you think maybe it was planned that way to force the X out onto Queen of Pain as opposed to maybe Conspiracy on the Void? Because remember, both those heroes can be really mobile. Do you think it was a little bit of a play? Let's pick up another hero that forces the X out as opposed to always constantly using it on the Void that was already picked up?
Yeah, so I think picking up the Queen of Pain, it's still risky though. Like, Queen of Pain is your biggest damage dealer, and if he can be controlled by Traxian, it's going to be a problem. He's going to be the main source of damage inside the Chronosphere, besides maybe Epicenter. But I don't know. They clearly have a reasoning for it. X-Master Spot's a big threat, but ACG feels confident that he'll be able to blink out in the right time. He's put mid lanes under a bit of pressure. Lang's trying to make a rotation, but won't be able to find much. X-Master Spot going to bring back ACG, but no follow-up there.
Well, he was just showing his face, just making sure that they do have a threat on the field. Phalanx getting around and making a play. Surprisingly, I haven't seen the Phalanx Ricky yet this tournament. One of those devastating heroes that I've seen him play.
Yeah, I think Ricky's not in a great place currently, but maybe we'll see it. Maybe if
it does go to a game 3, which I know the crowd here would love to see a game number 3. But I'm sure the boys at Sinister5 want this to only go to a game 2, as they do get a rotation coming in here for the side of APG, trying to put a little bit of pressure here onto Fearbender. But Mr. Bob Yules going to have to walk himself out of there, as he took a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, very scary stuff. This dual lane is pretty damn scary. This Spirit Siphon is always a major issue. It's one of the, I feel, strongest abilities here in the early stages, the laning stages of the game. But here we go, smoke rotation coming around the back. They're looking for that kill on Fearbender, and they should get it here actually. Traxian is going to break the smoke, but it's too little too late, I feel. and that should be a kill onto Fearbender.
Oh, that was a huge explosion. Fearbender paid with his life, but beautiful rotation coming out from APG. Trying to trick the side of Sin5. That Bob Yules went back to base, low HP, he actually healed himself up, rotated around and picked it up beautifully for the side of APG. So they tie up the scoreboard 1-1, 7 minutes in. Hasn't been a lot of kills on the count. APG playing this one super carefully. This could be the last game that APG have and Sinister5 could be sending them home.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough
to comprehend that. To comprehend that APG was pretty much, say, top 3 last year at the Masters at Rage, to now essentially be the first to be sent home. That is a tough call to swallow.
Oh, Phalanx, he's a little bit out of position, but rotations are coming through ACG. They do have a shrine up, could pop that one, so might want to turn themselves around. They could look towards Phalanx here. Phalanx has got a lot of running to do. TPs are coming in, but will there be enough actually? Oh, it's a Monkey King.
Aghanim's is there, drops the Bounder Strike. Easy pickup for him, 161 gold in his pocket. Aghanim says, easiest TP of my life, but they now do have 4. 5, correct, that is going to be in the mid lane, has popped up the Exorcism. They may try and trade out to tier 1 tower here. We do have the supports for APG in the sidelines. Mr. Bob Yules does not have his epicenter available. The wall is not available for Mr. O'Malley either. Very close to that level 6. Conspiracy rocks up to the party. Does have the bubble. Jumps forward. This could be a problem. Catches the one. Catches Traxium. But now Fearbender's Exorcism is down. Traxium trying to run away, but stunt. Heals up Traxium rather quickly. And it's going to force back good old Conspiracy. But the XP has been used. Going to bring him back, but I don't think that is a hero that you want to actually turn your attentions to, as ACG just walks past and says, listen boys, don't twist with my man.
That was a risky chrono though. He had no idea where he was. It was a blind one. He caught one in it, so that was fortunate, but it was a 0-for-0 trade. Really good work there from Reaper, being in a good position. Gets that double ice path down after the chronosphere and forces that Void to back himself on that. And good heal coming through from the Abaddon. He's got 1 point in miscore. It looked like a little bit more than that, but I suppose that's what this hero can really bring to the team fights. 3 points into his Aphotic Shield, so this is it becomes a bit of a concern. It looks like he's not really going like Midas into Radiance, which I've seen a lot of. Oh, Phalanx.
Oh, here we go. Phalanx has actually got X marks the spot before you get the net off. Conspiracy rocks up to the party, drops time dilation. The sheep does come out from Phalanx, going to keep stunt in place, but it just turns out to be a stalemate. Just being able to do enough to actually protect Mr. Good Old Kunka there, as Phalanx just trying to be a little bit of a pain.
Dire's bottom tower.
Bob Yules picks up an Invis, he's pretty low though.
Wow, look at that stat rather quickly. Death Prophet picked up ban rate 33% of the time and has a win rate of 56%. Well, that is a decent stat for a DP.
Yeah, I think that's a heavily because of Odu. Odu was running it as a core quite a lot, and he had a very good win rate on that. In fact, they would ban it up against him quite often. So, yeah, the hero is pretty damn strong. I think a lot of people underrate this hero a little bit in this patch because he is willing to go into these towers, take objectives very quickly, and is quite tanky at the same time.
Well, it's at that point, 10 minutes into the game. Let's take a look at the net worths. Monkey King sitting top of the charts, 4.5k, closely followed by Conspiracy at 4k, then Fearbender 3.5, and closely followed by ACG on the Queen of Pain. But bot lane, the scream comes out. This is mates Repo catches the scream on the tip. Now Aghanim's gets blown up as well, tries to throw out the Bounder Strike. Not going to be good enough. Takedown 2 for the side of Sin5. And APG take their reward and back themselves out.
Yeah, that was a lot more clinical from APG. It seems like they've sort of getting their chickens in a row here. They realize, okay, we need to do A, B, and C, and they are doing it pretty well. Now, Tier 1 is under a bit of threat here, but Chrono, it is online. Can he catch one? And X marks the spot can be used here, more than likely into Torrent and ship, but everything's going to be missed. It's a big whiff here. Very unlike Traxion.
That isn't a normal play from Traxion. A lot more on point with his X-Torrents and boats all in charge. Fearbender did have his Exorcism up, so it would have been a really good go point if they had managed to do quite a bit of damage to Conspiracy, as he did actually jump in that time, or let's say damage reversal would have not been would have been negated.
Yeah, absolutely. But here we go. Phalanx is going to look for Repo. It could be in a tight spot here. Actually overstays his welcome just a little bit. Should have maybe searched for Langs there.
I would have agreed with you. The net does come out, finding under the tier 1. No TPs coming in from Sin5. They rip Repo apart. The X is there, going to be trying to find under the tier 1. Torrance is going to be good, stunt running in. And the ACG going to come and back up his team as they're going to just try and clear out the wards for the moment. But they're going to turn their attentions to the tier 1. Starting to take objectives will be APG. That drone is very low HP. The boat comes in, not going to actually catch anyone. And Phalanx trying to see if he can find more. This the X marks the spot comes out. Borrowed strike, or borrowed time rather. Going to be able to just avoid that net shackle, and the boys from APG going to be rather happy with that. They got the kill onto Repo, got the tier 1 tower, and going to back themselves right on out.
Oh, Bob Yules in the top lane though gets jumped on, but pretty evasive stuff there. Make sure he doesn't get that dual breath onto himself. Rotations are forced out, but yeah, no objectives here for the side of Sinister5 right now, and APG, like I said, looking a lot more clinical than they did in game 1. For sure. I think they realize what's at stake.
Yeah, this could be their ticket for the first flight out, really. If they don't get those big kills, make those big plays, and the boys from Sinister5, this is their opportunity to stay behind. So both fighting for a big play, but Conspiracy jumps in, drops the bubble, catches out Aghanims. Do they have enough to actually take down the Monkey King? The screen from ACG doesn't connect, but they still do get the kill onto Mr. Good Old Monkey King. The net comes out, the shackles, Phalanx, there decimates Repo, and 2 down for the side of Sin5 as APG look like, I mean, whatever they did during that break, whatever they did, whatever they drank, whatever they ate, unbelievable, and seems like a completely different team.
Yeah, and I believe we have a replay.
Hold that thought though, because the boys here from Sin5 once in, they get the boat, they get the X. Torrent is good, ACG blinks out by the skin of his teeth. O'Malley may actually pay with his life here just to ensure that his mid lane gets out. But ACG gets spotted out. X, beautifully done from Traction. You're going nowhere, ACG. He's actually going to run out of here. And do they have enough to actually catch him? Traction trying to get close. They're going to try and use the Torrent. It's not going to catch. Super close, and ACG gets himself out of there. So still not being able to be brought down, and the TP being a waste of time. Still managing to get on out of there. Well played, ACG, surviving that onslaught from Sin5.
He shouldn't have survived there.
No, he shouldn't have. I think Sin5 just couldn't do enough to actually bring it down. And raises the question: is they've got X marks the spot. They have got the silence available from Fearbender. That should not have happened.
Yeah. And
but we do have a replay of everything, boys, to Scarpy.
Yeah, so, I mean, this X marks the spot. They do catch out the Queen of Pain here. He does get an amazing blink away. They do manage to sort of deal with O'Malley very quickly. He drops the wall, which is pretty decent. It's going to slow things down a little bit. The X marks the spot's on point here, but they have no torrent. The stun from Aghanim misses by quite far, unfortunately, and ACG just dances away, and not much was done from there. He shouldn't have survived. I think Aghanim held on to his Bounder strike just a little bit too long, unfortunately.
That ACG should have never gotten away. But as you say, you go fishing, and there's always one that gets back into the wild.
Yeah, for sure. It happens. It does happen, but it's something you don't want to see, especially when a team is performing very well. But bot lane, big trouble here for Aghanim.
Epicenter being used. Chip comes in. Bob Yules trying to fight it out. Aghanim's getting that Jingo Master to just get him back up into HP. Traxon trying to dodge himself through the trees. ACG being super aggressive. Throws out the scream. Does get the kill. And now Aghanim's going to get dropped the Bounder strike. It bounce away to a little bit of safety here. TP himself out of there. And they lose the good old Traxion man himself. Today, the stars do not align for you, good old Captain Man.
Yeah, he still found himself the kill onto Phalanx, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. It's okay. The fact that Monkey King survived there, because they did gank him, is pretty good for them. Again, going for a very defensive build is Aghanim. He's going for the Hood of Defiance, still very good. I think it's absolutely necessary for this hero, because he does lack sort of sustainability, and there's a tremendous amount of magical damage coming out from the Queen of Pain and the Sand King, so by all means, I think it is the right way to be going. He's now going to go for the Echo Saber, so that's going to assist him in sort of getting the Shingo Masteries up and to deal a little bit of extra damage in these team fights.
Well, I do like the item that ACG is going for, picking himself up. That Yules, that X marks the spot is going to soon mean nothing to good old ACG. And going to probably turn X marks the spot onto Mr. Conspiracy on the Void and try and control him out a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's going to have to be sort of Traxian throwing the X marks the spot. Ooh, they're actually going to look for a Chrono here in the bot lane.
The hunting team has actually smoked up. Conspiracy does drop the bubble. Finds out good old Fearbender. Wukong Command's going to be there. The boat comes in. They have stunned out Conspiracy. They're going to try and make a play on him. They have used X marks the spot. He's going nowhere. Sin5 clean out the Void. They're trying to chase him down. And Aghanims clears out the courier and leaves good old O'Malley. The bird siphon going to slow him down. There's X marks the spot. They lose O'Malley. They have wiped out the side of APG in the bot lane. 2 down, 3 more to go. They clear out tier 1 tower as well. No response for the rest of the team of APG. In the meantime, while that's happening, Repo just making sure the top lane of Rax doesn't push through. And Sin5 going to take down 2 objectives, 2 heroes, and are looking devastatingly good at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. That was a really good fight by them. Everyone was positioned very well, sort of in that defensive scenario, and they managed to keep Fearbender alive, who managed to get 2 silences down, which made a very big implication to the outcome of that. So really well done to them. Conspiracy didn't get the Chronosphere he really wanted, but it was very difficult. I think Sinister5 did a great job at positioning themselves there once again. I can't emphasize that enough. But why wasn't Queen of Pain there? If they are going to go for these plays, they need to make sure Sonic Wave is online and the Queen of Pain is there. They can secure these kills a lot quicker.
Well, I honestly think what happened was they saw Fearbender in this position here. But what had actually happened is the side of Sin5 was sitting behind the bushes here. And when a good old Conspiracy came in, he didn't see those 2 plays. They couldn't drop the bubble, and he was just like, oh, well, okay, no, there's nothing more I can do from this point, boys.
Yeah, you got to consider that Stun's not a total core. He's farming, yes, but he is mostly utility. He's building into he's got himself a mech. He's going for the solar crest. So he's mostly utility. So he might just be sitting on the sidelines. They need to make sure of these things. So I think it's still very high risk. And vision is sort of vision is pretty good here for the side of APG. Very deep wards all over the map.
APG, I don't think knows what's going on at the moment as they take him down. Their next objective, Exorcism, has been used out and is going to be snacking themselves out this beautiful Roshan kill. They do put it onto Aghanims, and that is going to put them ever closer to pushing up into the higher ground.
Yeah, a lot of people underestimate how good Jakiro is against Roshan because that dual breath slows down his attack speed. And no one needs to necessarily take any damage, so it's this is really good for Sinister5, and maybe a little bit poor from the side of APG, considering they have so much vision down. They should have been aware. Okay, they're all missing off the map, and this is what they have. Surely they're in the pit, so maybe APG were aware and said, okay, we can't fight it. It's too high risk if they get a silence down. But I mean,
perhaps they knew. Perhaps they knew. They get the silence off. It's going to decimate pretty much the side of APG. But if they don't stack the jump in and allow Sandking to actually channel up his epi, maybe send Void in, drops the bubble, charges up the epi, it could be a different situation. But perhaps they just didn't know.
Yeah, I think they didn't know. But they won't make this mistake again, surely. But again, they spoke about this on the panel as well. They said, you make one mistake and it can completely ruin your game. So I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for them. They just got to defend, but they're definitely going to have a lot of net worth loss, considering they are ahead in that. They are going to have a little bit of a tough time with this Aegis in the hands of Sinister5.
Well, I mean, looking at the net worths, the kills on the board, we're sitting 6 and 7, 22 minutes in favor of APG. Net worth also sitting in favor for them as well, 3K in the green. And Sin5 looking like they're a little bit more confident moving around the map. I don't know what it is. It just feels like they've got a little bit more control, even though the numbers say that APG is ahead.
Phalanx? Yeah, he's in trouble.
Strike being used out, can't TP out. Phalanx as X marks the spot. Torrent's going to be good. Again, picks up a kill for himself. Phalanx scored a little bit out of bounds there. And one of those threats that Monkey King possesses is that he can be on the trees, he can see you, but you can't see him.
Yeah, So ACG is doing really good work here. He realizes, okay, listen, they got Aegis. We shouldn't really fight. Let's split push these waves out. Let's punish them for grouping up. And he's doing a great job at that. At the same time, O'Malley is keeping the lanes pressured at least with the Iron Shell. So they actually might just trade a tier 2 tower here for one another. And it's pretty costly for Sinister5 unless they opt to go for the high ground and get a successful movement there.
Well, there you go. They're going to actually clear down the tier 2 tower in the mid lane. They're going to commit Exorcism as well. The Aghanim's jumps in and going to kill that beauty rather quickly. In the meantime, in the top lane, ACG going to try and split push this out, see what he can do in the top. So the side of Sin5 decide to push on in and knock at the doors of APG. The TP comes in from Conspiracy, waiting for that jump. Silence goes out from Fearbender, stopping that onslaught there from Darkseer. And the TP does eventually coming from ACG. Gonna force back the boys from Sin5. And I mean, that was good enough. They forced specific rotations from the boys at APG. And Sin5 are saying, dance for me, my little puppets, dance.
Yeah, they did a good job there. They got a decent amount of chip damage done to that tier 3 tower. They'll be very happy with that. They still held on to the Jaegers. They didn't lose anyone. They traded a tier 2 for a tier 2, but the amount of chip damage definitely worth their while. So I think I still look at Aghanim and see him with the Aegis. I feel like they might have wanted to give it to Fearbender, but I suppose once the Exorcism has been popped, it's done. So
it's like a one-trick pony, almost.
Yeah. So, however, if he dies before he throws that Exorcism, they will have that regret. But I definitely think it's probably the right idea in that sense. But bot lane now.
Well, we do have Fearbender, Traxian, X marks the spot. Silence is going to be used out there. The Spirit Siphon, Yules immediately about Bob Yules charging up the Empire, trying to devastate the side of Sin5, and they lose good old Traxian. Conspiracy jumps forward, very aggressive, can't find that bubble, and they may actually just secure themselves a tier 2 as well as the kill onto the Kunkka.
Yeah, very good trade there for APG this time around. They do use the wards and get a valuable trade, considering the fact that there is an Aegis on hand here for the side of Sinister5. They will be very happy with that. And Sinister5, they've got a lot of work to do, keep these lanes pushed out, and the Aegis, its clock is ticking now. Once that Aegis is down, they're going to go back to sort of being behind. But I say that APG are 6k ahead in net worth. So this is not a good place for Sinister5 currently.
Well, I mean, we spoke about timings. We talked about in the previous game. We're talking about late game, mid game. Looking at the draft, which side of the scale favors which team? Is it late game for the side of APG, or does it favor more Sin5?
I think APG once again have a very strong late game, but we saw Sinister5 take the weaker late game team and take it late game and still win. But I think like Faces Void and Queen of Pain scale a little bit better than. Actually, I'm going to backtrack on what I say. Monkey King scales actually extremely well, so he's pretty scary. His Boundless Strike is very, very scary. So I think they're alright going into the late game, but if Faces Void gets a lot, it's pretty scary. So I don't know. It can go two ways.
So it's about not forcing out any team fights, waiting for the game to go late game. Beautiful done from Traxian. Actually blocks in O'Malley. He can't get out. There's X marks the spot. You going nowhere, buddy. Spirit Siphon going to try and do what he can. The tree has actually been eaten out. O'Malley may actually be able to get out of here, but the X marks the spot, just making sure they can actually confirm that kill. As Fearbender does pick up the kill on O'Malley, and I think he actually used out the Arcane Rune as well, just before he died. So, no, sorry, I lied. There's Conspiracy actually used out the Arcane Rune. Bot lane though, APG trying to get some shenanigans. They dropped the snakes on the tier 3 and getting some chip damage for themselves on that lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of worth the trade. Yeah, it's a lot of gold that they gave over, but look at the amount of chip damage those wards did. So it's sort of putting this threat that if you make these sort of plays, you've got to be willing to make this trade. And yeah, they killed O'Malley, but this trade is very bad. And top stunts in trouble, gets eels up as soon as he gets his ultimate off. and he should go down here. I don't imagine he lives.
No, he does not live with 4 of the APG warriors surrounding good old Stunt. There's nowhere for him to go. Yule's up on the Queen of Pain. Something else we didn't touch on, we spoke about it to cancel out X marks the spot, but also really well for that borrowed time.
Yeah, just cut it out. Make sure that he's not going anywhere at any speed, and shut him down after that. So, I mean, APG are actually ahead right now. Like, Sinister5 were doing well. The Aegis is down now. They're behind in net worth. It's sort of slipping out of their control here. ACG has now got Orchid of Malevolence online, so everyone's got to be sort of afraid of that hero, and he's very difficult to catch, seeing that he did go Eels first. So I think APG are very happy with the position they're in right now.
I mean, sitting 8 and 9, a 7k advantage. Let's take a look at what our XP says. They're sitting a 4k in the black. They are really happy with that. The question is, can they hold onto it? The boys from Sinister5, they're not going to go out without a fight. And APG definitely want to take this to a 1-1 game.
Yeah, you bring it up. 8 and 9, 28 minutes into the game. Very few kills here. Seems like a sort of rugby final, right? Both teams sort of rather sit back and just get those safe points. They just wait for the safe points. They don't want to take a risk. And this is favoring APG's draft, for sure. They just have a faster way of farming, and Sinister5 maybe hoping that APG try and overextend onto them, but APG just keeping cool heads. Considering the position they're in, that's really good of them.
Well, Sin5, they have grouped up. They're going to try and make a play here for the bot lane. A tier 2 tower stands in the way for them to push high ground. Repo throws down the liquid fire, going to start working it away as this all happens in the top lane. ACG going to try and return the favor. It does have a TP available, and Sin5 says, well, Exorcism has been used out. They're going to use up the shrine. There comes the TPs. They're going to try and get some work done here. ACG TPs into the top lane. X marks the spot on ACG. They're going to try and see what they can do. The Yules has been used to debuff. The X marks the spot, but Bob Yules jumps in there with the epicenter. The bubble comes down. A symphony of skills coming out as the Wukong command comes down, and Fearbender Yules himself out. Root has been used up onto Phalanx, and the Exorcism doing such decent work here as they're trying to teeter away the side of APG. Sin5 decides the best of it and has to get out as Exorcism actually does come off cooldown, and the boys at Sin5 have to back on out as the defense from APG it's like a fortress.
Yeah, they still took a little bit of chip damage here, but I mean, in the grand scale of things, that was a really good defense. The fact that Fearbender managed to survive there, that was quite impressive. I really thought he was in big trouble, but using the Eels efficiently, getting earned up, making sure they kept him alive post that, and that was really good for him. And
did anyone actually go down there?
Yeah, the Repo went down as a Jakiro.
Is it? Okay, so they did lose one in that fight, and I suppose that was the reason for them to call the back off. But here we go. They do try and spot out the team here. Traxian has been silenced up. There's the Yules into the Rod of Atos, fighting under the Magnifier. The Vac is there. Bob Yules doesn't have the epicenter available. Phalanx gets the shackles off onto Aghanims. He's trying to be kept alive by Stunt. The boat comes in, catches out 3, and now Fearbender gets the siphon off onto Conspiracy. He gets rooted out. He goes down as well. Repo goes down as well on the sidelines, and Stunt, he's going to try and keep his team alive. The dagger does come out from Queen of Pain. Stunt still trying to keep Fearbender alive. Borrowed time being used out. Traxian going to get the torrent off, catches out good old Manny, and the TP has been called for him to get out of their Stunt. He's going to be the next to fall out, and they lose 3 for the side of Sin5 as APG are looking indomitable at the moment, only losing Conspiracy. The question is, does Sin5 have enough to defend this top lane? They don't have buybacks on 3 of the heroes. They're going to try and look at pushing in bot lane, lower HP tier 3. They drop the wards. Traxian going to try and get X marks the spot. The Torrents is good, but taking a little bit of damage there from the Queen of Pain. Fearbender using out the Siphon, and those snake wards are doing a ton of damage. X marks the spot onto Phalanx. The protest being used out, drops a huge amount of damage as Aghanim picks himself up a kill, losing the one lane of Rax The range Rex is down, but the boys defend any further onslaught and force the boys out of the base as Sin5 hold on without any buybacks.
Yeah, and this leaves shrines available to be taken, and Sinister5 have got their work set out for them. They're going straight back to the Roche pit this time around. I don't know if this is a good idea. Is there any vision? I suppose, but Bob Yule's surely going to go scout this one out. He's got a blink dagger as well as a Mule, so if necessary he can get himself on that. Ooh, the scan caught them. This is really bad. Really bad. Bob Yules is charging up his ultimate, looking for something.
Oh, he catches out Traxian and the root comes down, so does the outpath. But the Wukong command comes out, trying to hit down Bob Yules. He's going to bite the dough. Oh, no, he doesn't. Force Staff coming out. Sandstorm's up. He has been silenced out here. Fearbender can't get anything done. Can Bob Yules get out of it? They're going to try and lose Conspiracy. Manages to debuff that damage. The bubble comes down, catches out 3. Much better bubble, but there's X marks the spot, trying to control out Conspiracy. In the meantime, ACG on the sidelines gets down the damage that is so needed. Draxian has been glimmer caped up. He has been controlled up by the ice path, but the Exorcism just getting so much work done. Trying to fight under that is absolutely ridiculous, as Aghanim is going to right-click down O'Malley. He's going to hit the deck, and now Aspath got to come out trying to catch what they can. They can't. Conspiracy. Does he look for more? They want to try and stop the rush, but stunt goes down eventually to Bob Yules, comes back in. Time dilation being used out. Phalanx comes in, gets the ether shock off. They do lose traction. The shackle comes out, holding out Aghanim, but the Yules is going to be there. And Mr. Bob Yules once more low HP, but fighting like a hero. And now the silence comes out. They're going to lose Aghanims, and APG looking indomitable at the moment. Full 5-man team wipe. APG do it. How? I have no idea. And turning around, Mr. Bob Yules fighting with pretty much a tenth of his HP that entire fight.
Yeah, so there were like 2 periods in that team fight. The first period, 10 ultis got used, 1 person dies. The second phase, 1 ulti gets used, and 6 people die. It's absolutely, it's madness, but it shows that like Sinister5 have the sustain, but their draft just doesn't have enough sort of farming heroes, so they're behind in these team fights. So all of a sudden, APG can just turn around quickly and fight back into them, because now they can right-click them more efficiently. And it's definitely showing you, Sinister5 are having a tough time. They're not really farming a tremendous amount. The Monkey King has got no real farming mechanics. He needs to find kills if he wants to get any sort of a goal. But yeah, APG in a very comfortable position, and they are right to take this game into the later stages.
Well, that graph swung absolutely in favor of APG. They did lose the bottom lane of Rax. So the path is open, and that very well will be their saving grace, that they have managed to be able to take out that bottom lane of Rax.
Yeah, so, I mean, right now, APG, 18k net worth lead. It's pretty significant. And the side of Sinister5, oh, Chrono going to be dropped, but Reaper's going to manage to avoid it. But Sonic Wave, they're looking for more. Epicenter inside there. That is a dead Fearbender, as well as Reaper going to be brought down. And APG, man, they just all over this. They're all over this. They managed to find the entire racks in the bot lane. Sinister5 are in the top, but they need to get themselves back here. This is not a good trade.
No, Fearbender doesn't have buyback. We do have buyback on the Jakiru. They may actually have to force this out. They got to jump in. Phalanx gets the blink on in. Drops the walls. There's the shackles. Scream from ACG. 3 down for the side of Sinister5. There comes the buyback from Jakiru. Trying to throw out the Wukong command. Doesn't happen. He's going to try and do it again. He's going to go down before that happens. And now APG revigored. GG has been called out. And APG says, not today, boys. We are staying put. And it is 1-1. This is going to go to a game 3. Who would have ever thought? APG fighting to the death to make sure they stay in this tournament. They are going nowhere.
Yeah, far more clinical performance coming out from APG this time around. Sinister5, they're still sort of playing the same type of Dota that they did from today, like the beginning of this, and even throughout the year, they've been playing this sort of Dota, very aggressive and like try and break down your building. So I think APG have worked them out and did a good job. Again, very clinical performance, and we'll see if they can hang into this lower bracket. We know that they are lower bracket kings.
Yeah.
We know that.
Well, we're going to leave it up to them during the break to sort that out. In the meantime, we're going to hand it back to Wilson and the guys at the panel.
So, the Kings retain their crown. Sorry to say you were wrong.
I mean, it's a cost
First
of
time
this.
today, okay?
But APG still fighting, still swinging, and they swing hard, my boys. Still, a little bit more news from behind the stage here. It looks like we do have our first person going home, and that will be in the form of XD, losing the second match 17-41 after a 50-minute struggle. That's about as much as you're going to get from them, as they're going to be headed home from here on in. But we do wish them a good goodbye, and we do see still so much potential in that youthful team.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
it's
they'll
rough.
be back.
It's rough. Energy's rough.
Energy certainly came here with a plan. They're not mucking about this time around. One might have argued that they were mucking about the last time, not this time.
Nah, I think the last game that Energy played, they fell prey to Morphling. I mean, losing to Morphling in the best one doesn't seem like it's not enough to judge whether the team is good or not, and Energy is like really good. The way they actually were manhandling XD for a large portion of their game, so I think that's the energy that we expect to see, especially now that they are always going to have best of threes going all the way up to the finals, so that's more time for them to actually express their power more, and then you less prey to falling prey to like in a draft to get caught by one hero and lose the game.
You always have to commit so much to killing a Morphling, especially with farm. So it's just a bit unfortunate. But going up against Energy in a best of three as a team like XD is really, really rough. And my hat goes off to Energy. Well done. Wherever you are, well done.
They're out there somewhere.
Oh, wait, there we go. There's Chelsea.
There they are. Yeah. Right, so to the matter at hand, the business of APG. They've managed to struggle their way back into this. Now both teams are sitting with one to lose. That's it. That's all it takes, and they are going home with the boys of XD.
This is their last game.
There must be so much running through their minds.
Well,
There's somebody's last game today, like right now.
Right now, yeah. And it's also the fact that it was basically the same game as we saw in the first game. They were about 8k ahead again. There was not that much. It was relatively even, doing the slow siege thing. They lost one fight, and APG took advantage, took a Rax. And then that long fight by Rush, where it looked like Sinister5 won the fight. They went to go shrine up, came back, and team wiped, took Rush, game. And then Fearbender had to buy back just to defend the lane of Rax, right? And then she got caught out of position with, I believe, who was the other hero got caught out with?
She got caught as well as Jakiro.
Jakiro, yeah. And then that's a buyback DP gone. Just not even a relevant buyback. You just had to buy back, and they still lost that Rax anyway. And that was just game.
I think what we actually might see in the series, it seems like the hero of this particular series has been Rasta. Both teams that won were able to, like you're saying, they win one fight and then you drop some promotes and take a rack. So take some massive structure building. So that might be, I think, just being able to push after a team fight victory is something that we want to see from both teams, like in game 3. Do you think they'll change priority to prioritize Rasta more?
Look, what Sinister5 is doing works. This game, it worked as well. I mean, inevitably they were going to win this, but they made some crucial mistakes in 2 team fights, and then obviously the buyback DP getting caught out of position, that just lost them the game completely. There's no coming back now. And I think they jumped from an 8k lead to an 18k lead, which makes it almost into that 20k mark where it's very hard to come back from.
There's an old saying that comes to mind at this point, separating the chaff from the wheat. Now, Sin5, this is the big stage. This is the big time. It gets no bigger than this. They've just lost. They're about to go out. Are they going to have the strength of will to stick it out and come and bounce back for game 2?
I think so. I mean, they were swinging till the very last minute of the game. Like they should have called GG, honestly, 5 minutes before they lost the game. Right, that's when it was clear that they had already lost. But they refused to call GG. They kept playing. They kept fighting it out. Kept looking for maybe one mistake, some exploitation that they can make to try and continue winning the game. But that never materialized for them. But I think they still have a foot in this game. I think they still have some weight. They can still move. Sure.
No, definitely, like we were saying before, it was even, and it comes down to who makes the first mistake. And if you make more than one in the space of 2 minutes, you're gone, you're out. It's literally that. It goes like this. It really does. I mean, losing the fight by Rosh, Fearbender having to buy back to defend Rax, Didn't quite lose in the game. It's, it was still winnable at that point, but him getting caught out without buyback, there's no death profit. You're gone. And you've got ages and a cheese to deal with as well. I'm sorry, it's game. You have to call it.
Okay, so what went so well for APG? I mean, it sounds like we're saying...
The mistakes of Sinister5.
The mistakes of
Literally,
Sinister5.
because the game was so close. It was 8k difference. It's really not, it's not significant enough to say which team is winning or losing, because they were doing the whole slow siege thing, both teams. And the only time that APG could really take a Rax is when they won that 1-5. I think it was the bottom lane. They won that 1-5, and then they were able to take Rax.
Yeah, then they took Rax immediately after that.
Yeah.
I do think they played... One thing that I think went really right for them, they played really well around the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, they
did. They had two heroes, which basically Sinister5 had to choose who do we control. Do we control the Quab or do we control the Faceless Void? And they kept most of the game, they control the Void.
Sorry, but those silences and the Kunkka X-Mark spot, they did not let Conspiracy chrono at all. That guy just couldn't find the gap. And when he did chrono, he was X-Mark spot out of his chrono. So they really did control that Void properly. But then it also leaves ACG open to, go rampant on the Queen of Pain. So you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
I feel like both sides obviously don't want to go home tonight. Both of them don't want to go home. They're both fighting to stay alive. They're both fighting truly their hearts out there. But I feel like it would be more of a disappointment for APG to go home than it would for Sin5.
Yep.
Sin5, we almost didn't think that they would be here in the first place, let's be honest. They are the Black Horse. Yes, they're incredibly determined, and I know that the fans are sitting out there at the moment about to throw things at me.
I feel like they deserve to be here. They've proven themselves.
They certainly deserve all the praise in the world, boys. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, it's amazing that they've made it this far already. Whilst APG, we expect more.
We do, but I also think that Sinister5, we will be disappointed, as in the audience, because they're bringing us, for all their faults, right? They're bringing us new Dota. They're bringing us things that that other teams are not going to do, or they're not going to do as well as Sinister5 does it. So APG definitely will be much more personally disappointed in themselves, because they can do better. They've done better. They've proven they can do better.
They know how it feels to be on top, and to go home first in a land like this. It's going to be the first time in a year that they'll go home first. No, they're not going home first, but on the first day, this will be the first time in a year that happened to them. So I think that will be really soul crushing.
I wonder what the stream thinks actually. Push 1 if you think APG should go home. Push 2 if you think Sin5 should. Either way, we'll leave you guys to fight it out on Twitch. In the meantime, though. So, you've just come off a crushing defeat on Sin5. You were expecting to win this one. Everyone was rooting for you. APG kind of tilting a little bit, kind of starting to have shaky legs. Now you've just lost. You've got to get back into this. How do you swallow that defeat?
I think it's just guys, we lost. It's not like we got cheesed, but we made some crucial mistakes. We lost the game. I think it's one of those situations where not losing is better than not doing your best. So just
try not to repeat?
Yeah, try not to repeat, but also you can't say try not to repeat because the game was very close. Like you said, it was 1 or 2 little mistakes that really did cost them the game, but those little mistakes count when a game is that close.
Well, for both teams, their heads are bloodied but unbowed as Sinister5 and Aperture Gaming go at it one final time. And we shall see who comes out the victor. The crowd certainly thinks Sinister5. I want your final predictions before we see the draft.
I said Sinister5 game 1. I was right. I said Sinister5 game 2. I was wrong. Yeah. But I'm going to stick with Sinister5.
Again, it's a 3-way Sinister5, lady. You, sir?
I want Sinister5 to win, but if I say they're going to win, I've been wrong about this entire series. Then
so you're going to vote the other way
so
around.
I'm going to say APG to make sure Sinister5 wins.
But I must
Either way, you gain applause. So, let's get straight into the draft. And there's a hero we've seen banned out first almost each and every single time. And now he's coming out to play, the man with the venom, Viper.
Yep, they did this game 1 against WRG, the Fearbender Viper, so it's back again. This time it doesn't have Omni Knight to back it up, but you could still have Oracle or Dazzle.
It's still annoying in lane, and it still throws off the mechanics. So it is a good hero to have, but it does fall off when it gets to that late game, the mid to late game stage, so they have to make it viable early, and they have to do something spectacular with this Viper. But one thing that I am glad to see banned out finally is that Shadow Shaman.
Yes, banned out. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So without a Rasta being available, there's no easy push for either team unless someone wants to commit for DP. So we might see APG now forced to just keep fighting again. Also, they're the ones that banned out the Faceless Void. So Conspiracy's only played one other hero thus far, the Spectre.
Yes.
I really doubt you want to play Spectre versus Viper though.
No.
Let me ask you this, is there any other hero that can fill the same niche as the Shadow Shaman that would prove as the alternative?
No.
Not really.
It's why you have to pick Shadow Shaman by itself. Like everything else is either it has some stun capability or it has some push, but it doesn't offer the full suite of things that Shadow Shaman can do. And now we're seeing APG go back for like the usual meta picks right now. They pick Spirit Breaker first. They probably they might go Kunkka, they might go Night Stalker, but now they're just waiting for this pure setup type of lineup.
I mean, Shadow Shaman is just such a good hero. He's got a massive nuke. He's got like reliable disable and then amazing push. So there's just really no other hero in Dota like with that versatility having one hero. So definitely, I'm just glad to see him go because I would like to see something different come out for these teams.
Ooh, yes.
Oh yeah, Treants, here we go. The Ratting King himself, the Prophet.
So Energy just won a game with a Nature's Prophet on their team.
Yep.
So is
Dirty
APG
people.
Taking a page out of somebody else's book.
Yeah, they're going to emulate that playstyle.
Potentially. It depends on whether or not we see a Storm Spirit as well. Because the Storm Spirit in Energy's game was absolutely essential. He kept getting jumped on, they couldn't manage to kill him, and that was the end of the fight because everybody else would pile in and they'd be out of things to do.
And you're just like, well, we can't do anything against the Storm, guys.
We're done.
Nyx is really good against Nature's Prophet, though. If you can catch this hero by surprise randomly while he's trying to get himself away, or if you know when he's going to use his ultimate, you prop the Carapace in advance, get into vision, then he's like auto-stunned anywhere on the map and somebody else can kill him.
But also what's nice that they have the Nature's Prophet on the side of the team of the Spirit Breaker as well, because generally you pick a Spirit Breaker against the Prophet because it's just so easy to counter him.
On a side note, can I just get a round of applause for that Nyx Assassin play? That was insane, was it not?
Yeah.
Damn, that was good. That was amazing. Very cheeky use of the spiked Carapace. I hope to see more of it tonight.
So actually, this is a game one. APG did play with the global strat, right? This is pseudo the same thing that they're trying again now. Spirit Breaker and Nature's Prophet. So we could see more heroes leading into it. Like it didn't really that Zeus didn't work out for them in game one, but they might want to try it again.
Yeah, they might want to try the Zeus again. They haven't banned it out. It is still there for them to pick. But one thing I must say about having a Prophet as well as a Spirit Breaker is that you think you can go gank a hero or you can go on a hero in a lane, and then all of a sudden there's two more heroes, and then you're going against three instead of just one. So it's always that threat. It's like having a Pudge or Mirana, anything like that. You always have to watch out for a hook. You have to watch out for a charge. You can't just, free farm a lane and expect not to be, gone on, because, there is that. And then you have to always watch out for your lanes, because, Prophet's going to split push. He is the rat. Amel Bulldog made him famous.
The famous rat.
The famous rat himself, yes.
Do you think we have an Aperture Bulldog?
An Aperture Bulldog.
Sorry.
Who would that be then? Be careful now.
Ooh,
Disruptor.
I only get to see my man come down to the field in the form of the Disruptor. I love this guy.
This is like everything that I would normally pick against the against the Spirit Breaker or a Prophet. They're actually like, you got the Disruptor, you've got the Spirit Breaker. It's just, how are you getting away from ganks now? You got someone to bring you back, you got someone to TP in, you got someone to charge. These heroes work so well.
That's Sinister5's trick. They don't plan to get back. They don't plan, like, how do you drag people? They just plan to fight you. They're just gonna run at you. Like, they're not gonna try and catch you. You're gonna have to come to them. Like having Jakiro Viper, they can push pretty early on.
Yeah.
Jakiro again?
Yeah. I think Jakiro's like,
it's their go-to hero.
It's their go-to pick.
Jakiro is just so strong. It really, really is. What it does to towers, how it harasses in lane, it is brilliant. It really is. And it's a tanky support as well with a fair amount of armor. So for me, it's a brilliant support and it fits this meta perfectly.
Ooh, another CK.
Yeah.
Okay, so game one, they won with mid Jakiro and support CK. I'm not sure if we're going to see that again.
I just want to see this happen once more in my life. Right? Support CK, rushes Aghanims, you get a Terrorblade, Metamorphosis, throw your Aghanims onto the Terrorblade. Come on.
Terrorblade is actually not a bad pick.
It's not a bad pick here as well. It's really good here as well. I really want to see it. I hope someone does it.
If they did that, they could actually just easily snowball over them, because Jug can't really man fight versus the Terrorblade.
Yeah.
So
I have to be honest, I'm terrified of Terrorblade anyway. He doesn't need more illusions.
Just imagine Metamorphosis, right? Double Metamorphosis essentially. CK Illusion,
and
Metamorphosis.
Manta
Manta Style.
Yeah.
What do?
Basically, it's like playing Shadow Demon meta again. I don't think anybody misses that. That was garbage. It was awful Dota.
Yeah, the whole Luna.
Ian run? No, it wasn't Ian, it was XD. XD was trying to run a Shadow Demon.
Oh, did they lose?
Yep.
I'm very glad.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost.
I'm very glad.
I'm glad you lost.
Low blow, boys. Low blow.
I'm just gonna hide behind the cow.
Right, so final ban, Kunka, from the side of Aperture Gaming. What does that tell you?
So they think that Sinister5 still needs support. They're banking on the CKP. Oh my god.
Bambi.
There's no way I would have called Bambi.
No way.
Yesterday I was actually sitting down, right? I was doing my TI predictions the other day, and I was thinking which heroes do I not expect to be picked. And I was like, Chen and Enchantress, like, no one's going to pick these heroes. Not in 2017.
It is the jungle patch, but it's not as effective as it used to be.
Yeah.
And it's still, it takes you like 3 creep camps to get to level 2s instead of 2. So I mean, it's still, yeah, there's more farm on the map, but I mean, Enchantress.
I've got to be honest, that's a damn good pick. That's a seriously good pick.
This puts so much pressure in the early game, because now APG were the ones who were planning to play very fast pace ahead, ganking all around. But now you have to actually watch your lanes. You can't necessarily just easily charge across the map as Spirit Breaker, because you might need to charge mid to protect somebody from an Enchantress gank.
Yeah,
but
it
also
does
for me,
provide a bit of push in the form of the occasional creep from time to time. It does also negate a lot of the physical damage by purely slowing down the attack rate of whoever's attacking her.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, she's just so vulnerable because her base stats are just garbage.
Yeah.
She's so squishy.
Her base stats, like, it's... Oh.
Yeah, sniper.
It's a sniper.
This is gonna be funny. This is gonna be funny trying to see the sniper hit the enchant.
Here's the thing about sniper though. I'm not sold on the sniper, because APG virtually have 0 stuns right now. They have a charge, they have the ultimate, they have like 1 lockdown from the disruptor, but that's pretty much it. So, and on the other side you have heroes like Viper, CK need to be controlled. These are not heroes that you can allow to just run freely across you. So I'm not feeling good about. I just sniper won today actually.
Yeah.
Which game? Like,
I think it was actually no, two times I saw him.
So it's 2
I certainly saw him in the back there as
It's
well.
been 2 games with sniper this today. The one just didn't work out for them.
Nonetheless,
I don't know. I'm
so
not
guys, are any of you going to change your minds based on the draft?
I'm interested in this Enchantress pick. I don't like it.
Sin 5?
I told you, Sin 5.
Sin 5? Yeah. It's unanimous. Let's see if Sin 5 have it. And the casters are ready for us. Chubba, Scoppy, have fun.
Well, welcome back. Game 3. Who would have thought that the boys have taken it the full 9 yards? This is the last game of the night. Who is going to be the one to go home? Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to XD a little bit earlier. Who will be the one to leave the island next? We will see shortly as these 2 teams go head to head. Scarpy, your thoughts on this game?
Man, it's just so hard to say. I mean, I remember the time when I was watching APG beat Bravado, and I'm like, I want these guys to win everything. But now Sinister5 come into this with like crazy drafts, doing some completely unorthodox stuff, and now I want them to win. Like, it's so hard to call. I don't want anyone to go home here, really. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to look over at the draft, and I just like APG's draft again. Since the 5 are going for this, we're not going to farm. We're gonna fight and break down your buildings, and they've won a couple of games, and they've been pretty threatening like that. But I think that APG are aware of how they play.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Sargon providing us stats throughout the day. Perhaps he can give us one more. How many times has Enchantress been picked or banned throughout the entire year, or even at this event? This event, I think it has been 0, but throughout the year, maybe you could tell us, because that is an absolute surprise from left field.
Yeah, I can agree. The Enchantress pickup here on Traxian. Traxian, however, has a gigantic hero pool. This is something that is always an asset when you do have him on your side. Every team I've seen him play for, he sort of, he can play anything. He plays Pos 4, Magnus, he plays whatever you need. So we'll see how this pays off. He's going to try and look potentially for a snipe here, but the Phalanx is going to be walking past, so Traxian needs to get himself out of dodge.
Oh, I don't think our Phalanx actually does spot out good old Traxian. Just can't move his legs a little bit fast enough, but it's going to look like it's going to turn into another dual mid lane once again.
Yeah, so, I mean, this happens quite often, and they're playing up against a Viper. Viper's just such a strong laner. It's going to be a big problem for ACG in the early stages while he's sort of lacking in range. He didn't go for Shrapnel. So, I mean, Viper still does well, so if they can sort of keep pressure, actually he's going to be charging bot here. Looking maybe for stun, but it's going to be a difficult kill, to say the least.
He has only got his stun available. Charge is still going through. Phalanx is going to make it happen. Bob Yules is there. There comes the Blade Fury. The stun was good. Can he get out of it? Trying to run to his tier 1 tower for protection. He may go down here. One more right click is needed. Is he going to be able to close it out? It's not. He's going to be able to survive stunt from nowhere. Surviving through that. And while that all's happening, Conspiracy getting blocked out here. And going to get stunned out. And now Stunt going to turn it around, giving some love back. Oh, wow. From Stunt, changing the aggression from the hunted to the hunter.
Yeah, so we have a replay of the first not kill as the charge comes through. The spin, that was a really good stun. As soon as he saw flanks, he had that down on him pretty quickly. And this should have been a sure kill, but Stunt really uses the fog of war very well here. We can see the animation gets cancelled by Conspiracy and is able to get himself on out. So really well played there by Stunt.
Well, while that went down, mid lane was first blood. They lost ACG, being able to use the net creeps to be able to get that kill. We'll be able to show it to you guys very shortly, but beautiful rotation coming in from Retraxian, and ACG paying with his live TPs back in the mid immediately. As soon as that replay is available, we'll be able to bring it to you.
Before that, there's going to be potentially
there's going to be another one in the mid lane. Traxian now getting charged out. The net is good. Phalanx going to try and make a play here. ACG drops the shrapnel. Another net coming out from Traxian. Shrapnel trying to work on Traxian. Bliss coming out from the uphill from ACG. The RNG is not with you today, my boy, as those creeps do eventually get cleaned out from the rotation of the Disruptor. And Traxian being able to stay alive by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, Traxian is quite fortunate there that he manages to survive. So, I mean, again, that's all right. Probably the chances of him missing uphill onto that Enchantress, man, that's pretty brutal. Meanwhile, top lane, O'Malley, he's taking a decent amount of harassment here. Of course, this time around we do have a core Chaos Knight, so he's going to be looking to find a tremendous amount of farm in quick succession here. But a wraparound coming again from Traxian. He does still have that Dark Troll Summoner, and this could be a bit trickier for O'Malley, but he scouts it out with his own little tree, and so he'll be able to get himself an out, or will he?
Oh, here comes the Fog of War playing his enemy. Drops the treants. There's the Ice Path. Is it going to be enough? O'Malley going to try and get out of there. TP's on cooldown, not alive, and he's down. Going to be able to farm that out. At the same time, Spirit Breaker wants to find Repo. Does he cancel it? He does. Pulls back, throws out the handbrake, and he's not going to follow in there. Phalanx deciding the better of it. And already 0-3 for the side of Sin5. If you guys out there are supporting Sin5, I want to hear you. I want to hear you scream for your team.
Yeah, man. Sinister5, they're, again, this time around, they're having a much better laning stage. And every time we see them have a good laning stage, they have a very good outcome. So it's very important that this does happen. As well as Fearbender having a good time. He's having a pretty decent lane. He's maxing out his corrosive skin. And by all means, Shrapnel is an absolute nuisance majority of the time. But for a Viper, he's not too concerned about a sniper. I know it rhymed, whatever. Don't laugh at me.
Say that again for us.
Yeah, so I mean, Viper, he's just one of those heroes that are just going to win the lane most of the time, and Sniper's going to have a tough time sort of dealing with him. But we see, going largely for stats as ACG, he's got double Wraith Bands up, so he too realizes, okay, I need to tank myself up, get decent armor, get decent HP pool, and that will help him sustain himself.
Oh, Phalanx spending a little bit of time in the top lane, in the side of the jungle, doesn't want to get spotted out, trying to be a threat. If he doesn't show himself on the map, that obviously means that's a threat. And the charge is coming in, bot lane, Conspiracy, trying to spin it to win it. Stunt trying to stay alive, he's got no more mana for anything. He's going to go down here to the likes of Conspiracy and Bob Yules, taking him to church and sending him back to base.
Yeah, getting that critical strike there was, I nearly say critical. I might as well just say it was critical there. So he secured that kill, and that also meant the Spirit Breaker didn't need to go too far away from the mid lane, and he can keep a constant amount of pressure. As we can see, Traxian is just walking around the back of this mid lane here, but charges once again onto Stunt. Stunt needs to be careful if he does overextend here, but I don't... Are they going to dive this? No.
I don't think it's the wise decision, but mid, they have got the route out onto ACG. The Assassinate tries to come out. Not going to be good. O'Malley trying to turn around. Realizes it's a bad idea. It's a double kill. Mistakes were made, people. Phalanx can't get anything from the back of that. And Traxian and Fearbender taking the boys of APG to school and saying, yeah, the mistakes were made. TP's in, TP's out. And couldn't get anything off the back of that.
Yeah, so we got a TP here. I mean, this is definitely kill on ACG, but look where O'Malley TP's in. He realizes, oh, this was a terrible idea. TP out immediately, but Fearbender is just dealing a tremendous amount of damage at this stage of the game. He has got his trades as well as Aquila up. He's pretty scary. You can't really rotate too deep into him unless you are certain that it's going to be successful. So that's a very big loss there for APG. Having a tough time in the laning stages, and Traxian really doing something with this Enchantress that we couldn't expect.
Well, you know what? If you don't play against a hero really often, you kind of underestimate, or you're not really sure of the skills, and you kind of get caught off guard. Especially now with the jungle being able to spawn so often, leaves a lot more options or a lot more creeps at her disposal.
Yeah, absolutely, and just due to that and using smokes sufficiently, is pretty useful. But Traxian, he doesn't really have any creeps with Cat right now, so they're more than likely going to use this to try and push and do some damage to this tier 1 tower, which has already taken a significant amount of chip damage. And I don't think O'Malley is going to be able to do much about this, so we'll have to back himself for now.
They do have two around there. Jakuru, the best at taking towers. Liquid Fire doing the business. Traxian's helping out. Got two creeps. And it's going to be first objective here for Sin5. 8 minutes in. Objective 1 done, dusted. And they're going to look to see if they can find a little bit more. Potentially going to the mid lane, punishing ACG as he has no viable or quick escape.
The seeds of fort.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking over the net worth, which is actually quite significant right now. This Viper is huge in comparison to everyone else. He's sitting with 4.5k in comparison to the highest net worth on the opposing team is only 3.2.
Bot lane though, Phalanx gets spotted out, gets slowed up by Traxian, decides to get his charge on, going to get out to the closest creeps. He's going to try and run away, and no more charge coming out from Sin5. They do manage to destroy that healing ward. Now Traxian may be in a little bit of trouble, running through the trees. Blade Fury, Thunderstrike, going to be easy meat, and eventually Traxian does go down, gets punished for being a little bit too aggressive. Stunt not close enough to help out his teammate, and Bambi got shot between the eyes by the hunter.
Yeah, and Nature's Prophet from across the map just cast his ulti, you know. He probably told Constantly, oh, it was a mistake, but we all know it wasn't a mistake. He wanted that kill, but yeah, they secure a very quick kill onto him there. You need to sort of burst down a Bambi because of the untouchable can give an opportunity to escape. But at the end of the day, it's not too terrible of a trade. Fearbender's still doing extremely well. He's really far ahead, as well as the CK doing pretty well for himself. So they are all right with that trade.
Now, something we saw in the earlier game today, we did have Sin5 pick up the Viper against WRG. Sin5 had a really good start against WRG, and found that maybe the Viper was a little bit overwhelmed when it came to the later parts of the game. Do you see the same thing happening in this game? Before you answer that though, just hold that thought, because the charge is coming in onto Repo. He's going to try and pull back. Fearbender in the vicinity to try and keep Repo alive. Throws down the ice path, and Phalanx makes you pay with his life. Fearbender taking him out. So does Conspiracy. Wipes out Traxian, and the boys from APG try to move forward. The glimpse is there. Going to bring Fearbender back, but the stun from the Centaur going to try to keep them in place. The Omni Slash is being used out. Going to TP himself out of there, and only losing good old Traxian is going to be a worthwhile trade.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad trade at all. I think they exchanged.
Well, it actually went in favor for APG just by a few amounts of gold.
Yeah, it's just because that Enchantress is so far ahead. He's had so many more successful rotations in comparison to that of the Spirit Breaker, so his death is far more valuable. financially as well as to slow down Sinister5's sort of push forward. So Sinister5 still happy with the outcome. The fact that Fearbender managed to get out of there is really good. Having 4 points up in corrosive skin definitely helped him out there. He still got out with half HP and a lot of spells were thrown down on him and multiple heroes beating up at him, and he got out quite comfortably.
So before that little fight broke out, I was asking you a question. Does Viper have what it takes to scale well into the late game, or does APG's draft manage to get them to that late game?
Viper's one of those heroes that do very well into the late game. He scales pretty decently, but I think the objective for Sinister5 is, okay, we must get these sort of goals achieved, and then we can look at going into the later game, because then we have a decent margin lead. Whereas they've got a 3k net worth lead currently, so they're very happy with this. But we have to not really look at Viper. CK is also one of those heroes who scales extremely well. He's got Hadamatis now, so his farm's only going to escalate that much more, and they haven't really punished him for this. So he finds himself another tower. They're going to trade one, but I mean, that's 2 towers probably going to be traded here, as the mid's also going to go down. So Sinister5 still getting better trades.
Right, well, they are putting a little bit of pressure onto the tier 1, doing what they can to destroy the objectives here and slowly making their way into the side of APG's base. Clearing out those creeps is going to be really easy for ACG, as Traxian has been quite a nuisance. Does this maybe pose an idea of picking up a couple of dominators for the side of APG, or just not worth it and just deal with the newts?
I think they can just go Hadamatis is probably better than going for the Dominator, because Dominator does take a pretty terrible nerf, I would say, but yeah, they'll be okay with this. They're trading poorly here. They lost the tier 2 top, and they haven't even brought down their tier 2 down to a half HP. So Sinister5, they either got to secure this or get themselves out of here, because a fight's surely going to break out.
Well, they're going to be able to secure themselves at mid-tier 2. TPs are going to happen. They're going to make their way top, and going to try and protect out the top lane of Rax. A little bit of chip damage it did take, lost about 189 HP there. It's going to be ever slowly for APG, probably going to make their way into the top lane, considering the amount of chip that has actually happened.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a bad trade for APG at all. They traded I suppose 2 tier 1s and a tier 2 for a tier 1 and tier 2. So I mean, it's unfavorable in a sense, but if we look at the net worth, it's favoring the side of Sinister5 currently, so these kind of trades are not too bad for them, and they got, well, some sort of chip damage done to the high ground, which is, it's always significant. Any form of damage done to high ground is always a bit of an issue. You sort of got to counter that out, make sure the lanes are constantly pushed out. You can't afford for another siege creep to lay down onto your tower, so it's now going to be a constant focus here for Sinister5.
So we are sitting 40 minutes in, 3 and 6 gold going in advantage of Sinister5. Where do we move from this point in? What is the items that Sinister5 is waiting for? What are we waiting for the side of APG to take us into the next phase of the game?
So Agamemnon has already got his omelet up, so that's really big for him, because that means his illusions are going to be doing a lot of work. He's going for the Manta style, which is still a pretty good build. It's going to help him farm quite sufficiently, but I don't think they're looking to really fight anytime soon. They're going to, maybe the Hurricane Pike on Fearbender is a decent spike, but other than that, I think they're going to be patient and wait until Stunt gets his Blink Dagger or something of that sort. So they'll be happy with the position they're in. They've got 2 Hadamatises. As long as they don't lose too many objectives, they will be able to keep this economic lead. On the other hand, Maelstrom's going to be up soon for the sniper, so he's going to be able to escalate his farm a little bit, but they don't really want to fight on the back of that. I think they're just going to rely on maybe Conspiracy finding a kill too with his Omnistash once he does get that up to level 2, because the supports will have a bit of a tough time, especially Traxian.
Well, having a look in the bot lane, here comes a little bit of a hunter party. Going to be putting pressure on this tier 2 as well. In the meantime, APG congregating around the top part of the map for the side of Sinister5. Aghanim spotting out. Phalanx gets the 4-second stun. Going to make easy work of him. The TP comes in from the rest of the team, and Aghanim is pretty much soloed Phalanx. Going to use the shrine and shrine it up. farm it out while that's all happening, forces out the rotations in the bot lane as Conspiracy does blade and spin it to win it. Fearbender trying to get out of there. There comes the glimpse, understatic storm, and now O'Malley as well as Conspiracy trying to fight it out. They're going to lose down the Jugger. And good old Fearbender, man-moding it completely. The TP is good, and ACG can't get that break for the TP. He makes it out of there by the skin of his teeth pretty much. Losing Fearbender, but keeping good old Reaper alive. And the boys from ACG defending lost Phalanx a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I believe we do have a replay of that outcome. So getting the spin off a little bit early there, so he didn't have the spin for the damage output, so he had to brawl into the Viper, who was just laying wake, and the Reaper's ultimate just did so much work. It made life very difficult for Juggernaut. If he managed to hold on to his Blade Fury there, it could have been a bit of a better trade. The fact that Fearbender killed the Juggernaut before he died meant that he at least got some experience from that, so not too bad. But it was a sort of financial gain, at least for the side of APG, at least the trade there.
Right, so we O'Malley also trying to pick up his Maelstrom as well. Also another farming item, trying to just be able to get the split push on. It's going to make it really easy for him to be able to push on through to the base of the side of
Sniper's in trouble.
And ACG does get the Mecha-Fire. There comes this the charge in onto Stunt. ACG going to make it out, and he does pretty easy. We weren't concerned. Yeah. I wasn't concerned.
No, yeah, it was easy.
Alex, actually tempting fate here. Didn't want to actually close the gap, although we do have Jugger in the backline. Repo doing the dance around the trees. The pings come out, and Stunt says, let's just get out of there. Going to use the Omni Slash, and a nice little bash coming out from Stunt as well. O'Malley trying to also be part of this action, throws down his Sprout. Not going to be able to spot out Stunt. He has actually Vendetta moded up. And Sentry is in vicinity. Going to use his Carapace and just walk himself out of there.
Yeah. A bit of a mistake there from O'Malley. He might have wanted to Sprout instead of right-click. There is a Quelling Blade on the next, though, so I suppose...
Oh, there's the charge top lane, Phalanx. They're trying to find Atraxian. There's the glimpse. Going to cancel Atraxian's TP. And another one falls down. ACG getting himself a double kill. And APG, before you know it, back in the game. Almost leveling things out. 7 and 8. 18 minutes in with less than a K net worth difference.
Yeah, neither of these teams are leaving anything on the field here. They're going all out, and I think it's pretty good here for APG, that trade. They'll be happy with that. Getting a kill into the CK was absolutely necessary. That's his first death, and sort of slow down his farm because he's doing pretty well. Again, the Viper is still probably their bigger concern. Right now, he's going for the Maelstrom, so something different this time from Fearbender. He did go for a Hood occasionally, this time going Maelstrom, realizing, okay, I've got to deal some damage. We've got to deal with the wave clear, which is going to be coming from O'Malley with these treants. So it's a bit of a difficult thing to slow down, and realizing that wave clear is something that they are potentially lacking.
Well, he has got the Hurricane Park up, so range is a little bit better. Going to be able to try and at least find himself on top of the sniper. It's something you don't want ACG to do. I've seen him on his sniper and absolutely devastating. You really need to close the gap, and they've got stun for that. If they've got wards or sentries down, it's going to be really difficult to try and deal with that sniper, and something they need to try and focus and look towards.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to deal with ACG. I think that's the biggest concern, but I think Spike Carapace is always good, because if there's a shrapnel lying lazily somewhere, he can just run into a Spike Carapace and sort of set up for his team. Like you said, he can also just go and visit to the background. But I think inside of APG, they're pretty well rehearsed, and at least making sure that they have sentries down wherever ACG is going to be. So it shouldn't be too much of a concern, but we'll keep a wary eye on that.
Well, here comes out the charge from Phalanx. He's just actually going to the mid lane. False alarm, guys, false alarm. I just saw him charging, got excited, and it turned out to be just a creep that he was charging out. Bot lane though, Atraxian looking to find himself a gorgeous little ACG. He is in the vicinity. Can he make something happen here? ACG has no escape. 7 seconds cooldown on the TP. Can he actually find him? He does actually spot him out. The TP is available. There comes out the assassinate. Traxon taking a huge amount of damage though. And here comes the rest of the team for the side of Sin5 and ACG going down. Super close call there on the TP. And
top lane though, before we get into the dust. The quick finger from stunned once again. Must be careful though, they are doing a lot of damage to this tier 3 tower. Omni
Slash is going to be good. They're going to drop down stunt and they may actually lose the tier 3 top. O'Malley, the Phantasm comes out from Traxian, trying to see if he can find anything. He has been glimpsed back. And the side of APG may look very good. Yeah, they do lose the top tier 3. And APG may look at pushing in to the higher ground. The TP has been used. The side of Sinister5 going to try and trade it out. No TP available on Repo. No TP available on Aghanim. And this is it. The range racks have been taken down. Fearbender, the only one standing in line. And that play, that disruption coming out from good old boys of Bob Yules, stopping that. They do lose the top lane of racks and they get themselves out of there. Pretty much lost their first lane of racks from the boys of Sin5. A little bit of a misplay there.
Bot lane
though, they're going to be able to return the kill. They're going to bring down O'Malley. And not worth it in my eyes, losing a lane of racks for O'Malley any day, anywhere.
That was just unnecessary though. He just TP'd in between them and died. They just saw his TP coming in, they asked on top of it and killed him. If he didn't die there, this would have been it's still a really good trade for them, but it was unnecessary. However, getting a lane of racks, I think, big punishment coming out to the CK having a long cooldown on his TP as well as the Jakira not having a TP at all. I think Jakira had to be back there. He needed to drop his macro pyre. He needed to use that ice path to slow down that Drax, and I think that sort of cost them there quite heavily.
Yeah, well, or just better played from Bob Yules on that glimpse. Stunt does spot out Bob Yules. There's the glimpse again. Assassinate going to be used out. There's the static storm. Bob Yules can actually turn and fight it around here. Stunt goes down, and the side of Sin5 looking to the next point of call, and APG taking
Radiant's
them to Bob and absolutely punishing them. But I think after that TP in from Aghanim, they actually learned their lesson a little bit. If there's a disruptor around, TP to like these towers here, something out of the vision from the disruptor, just to make sure that you get to stay in base at least for 5 seconds or so.
Yeah, that's disruptor for you. He disrupts the team paths, but he just
nice work there. nice
he disrupts your high ground defense pretty well. You can't TP into the front line. It's just silly. It's just silly things. But again, finding a lane of racks. Only 2 remaining now for Sinister5. They found themselves on the back foot where they didn't necessarily need to be. So a lot of errors. It's late at night maybe, but this is focus time. You go home if you lose this game. Sinister5, they need to pull this together, and they need to pull it together soon.
Well, let's say that again, the loser of this match, this game, will be going home and be joining XD on that long walk out of the venue.
Yeah, absolutely.
The seeds of
and the farm of Sinister5 is slowed down. 3-man smoke on the backlines here. They're going to try bait out with Fearbender. So let's see if this is going to coax anyone into trying something. But it seems pretty suspicious that no one's on the map and Fearbender's farming alone. But APG definitely saying, okay, there's something odd here. ACG will rather sit on the high ground, and rightfully so. So I don't think there's any chance for them really to take the high ground. They could back out and go for it.
Stunt jumps in, immediately gets the shadow blade off on ACG. Stunt Vendettas up, trying to see if there's anyone coming on the sidelines to flank them. Not going to happen. The assassinate comes out, just trying to lower that HP there of Repo. He's not sitting too well. He got 2 braces and arcane boots, trying so desperately to get himself to that Rod of Atos.
Yeah, O'Malley in the tree line here, just casually relaxing,
just chilling.
Kill the shrine with these treants though, and nothing could be really done about it. You run there, you kill the treants, he's just going to send a whole bunch back there. So a lot of gold going into his pocket, and he gets out safely. So yeah, APG, they're in a pretty good position. The last bunch of events definitely favorable towards them.
And I mean, what do the side of Sinister5 look at doing now? I don't believe they have the gas in the tank to go the full 9 yards. They're starting to lose control of this game. What can they do to get themselves back in? Rush hasn't been thought of yet for either team. No approaches there. And slowly the noose is tightening for Sin5.
I think it's just important for them to not be too overzealous right now. They need to play this calmly. They don't need to make ridiculous plays or anything of that sort. So I think it's okay for them to say, all right, listen, we had a bit of a shaky go at it. Let's relax. Let's pull ourselves together. We still have the heroes that can take this game into a later period. Don't panic too much. I don't think they need to go into Roche Pit and under the vision of their opponents and take that risk. So yeah, I just keep calm, I think, is the best thing for them to do.
Just keep calm, and hopefully they will make it to the next round. It is going to be one of those tough games where everything is on the line. We can already see that the teams have backed off in their aggression. It is 9 and 10, hardly anything in it. 3K in favor of APG, but 27 minutes into the game, and things have slowed down drastically from what we saw in the earlier parts of the game.
Yeah, I mean, there is, I suppose, something in it. There's a lane of rack stand, so you got a lane constantly pushing in. It's just very difficult to deal with, very annoying for Sinister5. Every time they want to take an objective, they have to first push out top lane to a certain point, come back, do a smoke, and then bots probably pushed in. So they've got a lot of work ahead of them here. So it's a tough place to be, but we'll see what happens.
Well, the charge is there. Phalanx trying to make it happen and decides to pull back. Just a little bit over excitement there. Getting frisky there, Phalanx. Realized that they didn't have any close backup and hit the brakes, pull the parachute, and let him be.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're taking it calm. I think this is all right for both sides. It's all about the next sort of events that happen. I think Sinister5 going to push out, maybe group up for a smoke. Do they have a smoke on hand? No, they don't. So I think they're just going to do some dewarding, make sure that they can farm their jungle efficiently, and see what happens from there.
I mean, the game has actually felt like it stalled a little bit. Stunt trying to see if he can find something. Here's the Vendetta trying to see if he can find a target. Closest by will be Phalanx, but it will only be the illusion. Will it be enough to actually coax out a little bit of a play here? They randomly throw out the dust. Phalanx finds nothing as good old Stunt is actually sitting in the lane.
Yeah, that's some heads-up play though.
Could this be a jabait? And when I say jabait, I mean a jabbabaiter.
I think they realized it's doing no damage. Really?
Oh, yeah,
okay, never mind. They
got baited.
Yeah, that's weird because the illusion is just doing no damage to the creep, so you should know. I suppose they just like someone's here and just blindly were just running at him, and it's fine. It's fine. They threw out Viper ultimate. It's a lot of mana that he needs to get back, but it's a pretty low cooldown, so it's not too much of a concern.
And he does have that Aquila to help regen and sustain his mana pool for the moment. Doesn't look like any engagements are going to happen pretty soon. They do have the other illusion of Phalanx sitting in the pit, just in case some shenanigans do take part of Sin5. But bot lane, Omni-Slash being used up. There comes the kinetic field, trying to jump onto Fearbender. No Sin5 around the corner, and they lose Fearbender. In the meantime, they do lose Stunt as well. And APG moving in, and
Dire's middle tower is
things
under attack.
are really looking very, very slim here for the side of Sin5. Had a good start, and then all of a sudden things are turning into the other direction.
Dire's bottom tower
I mean,
is under attack.
this is just really tough now for Sinister5. They can't afford to really lose these kind of fights, and tier 2 is more than likely going to be traded here for sure. That crit on the creep just absolutely destroys that tomato. And tier 2 tower should come. Now charge towards the mid lane, and it's going to be Aghanim who's going to be in a bit of a pickle here.
The Static Storm has been used, so is the Kinetic Field, but BKB has been used up. They're going to try and focus down Bobules. They do get it. Bash is being used up on Phalanx, but O'Malley is there, and Traxian trying to make a play. We do lose good old CK, can't pull it through, and the onslaught from APG continue. They lose Traxian. And 3 down for the side of Sin5. Only now Fearbender has actually respawned up. They don't actually have any sentries here for the side of APG. Need to actually retreat until they can actually spot out where Stunt is. They're going to make a bit of a play here, dropping the healing ward and taking the next objective.
Yeah, well, going for Roshan, this is now starting to be a little bit of a landslide. APG just finding these pickoffs. It seems like Sinister5 just making these little errors, and it's very costly, and APG are quickly making them pay, looking a lot like themselves in this game. So, like we say, kings of the lower bracket, and they're definitely living up to that name once again.
Well, I mean, let's not discount APG. They did come last year in the top 5 of the Masters at the Rage, and I mean, considering that they could potentially be going out, they've held on and they are clawing themselves back. But this by no means is over for both teams. Although APG looking really strong, sitting with a 10k advantage, lost the top lane of racks. Can Sin5 hold on? Let us remind you that this is a team that is new to the Masters and has done really well to get here. Omnistash comes out, they're going to lose good old Traxia, and they're trying to turn it around, fighting under the macro pyre. The Aegis is down on the tech, Stunt trying to get out of there, Shrapnel being an absolute problem. Felix gets in there, charges in, fighting under the static storm. They may lose Jugger, they do. Fearbender trying to right click his sweetheart away. Felix, the next one to be onslaughted here by Fearbender. Felix almost going to go down, but the assassinate is good. They're going to lose Aghanim, and now the two here from the side of Sin5 trying to slow down APG. They do have buyback on the Jugger. Do they have enough? That is the question that will be answered very, very shortly, as those treants are doing that chip damage to the tower. While that's all happening, ACG just right-clicking away and slowly making their way into the base of Sinister5.
Yeah, this is just a slow siege, and they don't really have the answers. CK is dead. Fearbender walks forward, force himself out pretty well. Charge comes through, catches that too. But a really good ice path there to slow things down. Phalanx could go down. Yes, he will. Kill goes away, attracts him, but they lost another tier 3 tower, and they'll be fine with that trade.
No, absolutely. They managed to defend and get things done. It always feels that I think if Fearbender needed to pick up a blade mail, almost.
Yeah, it's difficult to really. Oh, Traxian finds himself a second kill actually.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay, cool.
We got it.
So I think it's easy to say he should have gone blade mail, but they also need wave clear, and they don't really have an answer for that besides maybe like Reaper, but it's so slow. So I think Maelstrom was almost a necessity. Now
do we go back? Do we go back and get the blade mail?
I think he needs BKB because he wants to force himself at safety, and then the disruptor can just glimpse him back. And with the break on him, his corrosive skin is going to be somewhat irrelevant. Of course, there's break now from the sniper, so he needs to make sure that he can keep himself alive to sort of sit back and be a threat to them to not want to dive too deep, because they know, okay, a Viper can be dealing a lot of damage to us if we do go too far.
Alright, well, we'll see if it pays off for him. He has actually loaded up that BKB, and let's see if it makes a difference. If that glimpse has been such a problem for Fearbender, he's trying to man mode it in there, get in there, and he's trying to put the boys of Sin5 on his back and get themselves the win. They don't want to go home. Neither of these teams want to go home, and they are fighting now for their lives to stand the chance at winning themselves that grand prize at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. There is. Sin5, it seems like a little bit of a desperation play maybe, are going to 5-man smoke. The top lane is pushing in, however, so if they don't get any success here, it is going to be extremely costly for them. And the side of APG seems to be in pretty decent positions. They could maybe catch out O'Malley, but he's playing this pretty safe. So, yeah, this is a very, very costly smoke here for Sinister5.
It looks like they may just bump into the boys of APG, and they decide against it. They're going to TP out. Stunt may actually come across good old Mr. Phalanx, but it's not going to happen. Going to come out of reveal himself and actually just try and clear that wave. Phalanx is actually going to be charging himself. Is he just charging a creep, or does he actually spot something? He's actually just charging one of the illusions, clearing it out. And that's all she wrote. And considering this has turned into a 35-minute game, a very low kill count for both teams, like we said, everything is on the lines. You're going to not make any mistakes wherever you can, and it's showing. It feels that the boys just need to hold on to that BM team.
Yeah, it's been a long day. I can say it's been a long day. I think it was pretty good. Like, he cut the wave. He's bought his team a little bit of time to at least push out top again. But things are still shaky right now for Sinister5. They're in a tough position. It's not over by any means, but they are in a tight spot. And they got a lot of work ahead of them to pull this one back.
Like you said, it has been a long day. Sinister5 started off the day going up against WG, stayed at the venue the whole day waiting for the series, even brought in their CS team to support the boys. But top lane, here we go. They find the engagement on to Fearbender. He's trying to get out of there. Conspiracy gets in there, throws out the Omni Slash. BKB not helping, decimating two. Traxian down, Fearbender down. APG looking good. They do have a buyback. There comes out the healing urn for O'Malley. And APG taking down two for Sinister5. And I mean, the camaraderie amongst the Sinister5 team has been absolutely phenomenal. The guys in the crowd going berserk for their team. The support from the rest of the MGO has been unbelievable. But APG starting to close the noose as they push into the mid lane. Battle Fury coming out. Shrapnel being thrown down. Glimpse going to try and catch out. Aghanim's going to be good. Phalanx is going in under the fire of the Jakiru. And they clear out the tier 3. Conspiracy going to right click down the rats as Phalanx gets himself out of there, and they make easy work of the mid lane of Rax, and O'Malley already starting to knock away the bottom tier 3.
Yeah, they need to defend this now. If they want to have any chance of winning this, they can't afford to go up against Megas. They do not have an answer. I touched on it already. They have no wave clear besides that of a Viper, and a Viper Maelstrom is not going to cut it up against Mega Creep. So this is pretty much the last stand. I think APG, they're definitely showing a lot of respect here. They've fallen back. They're not going to go overzealously onto the high ground and see if they can secure that Megas as soon as possible. They realize, okay, you know what? They can win a team fight and turn this around. Let's play this safe. And they're doing the right thing. And cool, calm heads. But Sinister5 poking their head out of the shell here as, yeah, they're probably going to be forced to turtle this for a long period of time. So try and find whatever farm you can when it is safe. And see if you can do something in this next high ground defense.
Well, I mean, what is the next moment? I mean, we do have the good old man himself going to be coming back alive pretty shortly. Potentially, that is going to be the next play here for APG. Or could this actually be a smoke? Okay, so it is going to be the hunting party, and hunting we shall go. They're going to decide to actually
detour?
That word to the northbound area. They're going to actually find themselves. Aghanim, this is going to be a massive kill here for them. They're going to right click him down. The Necropie does come down. He is down. The Shiver's going to be used out. And the boys from Sin5 just running in desperation. Omni Slash coming out, ripping apart Repo. Stunt has actually been vendetted out. And that has been actually been cancelled out by Phalanx. But now Stunt trying to make a play onto Phalanx. While that's all happening, the boys from APG saying, we're having none of it. They're going to push into the bot lane. And this very well may be the nail in the coffin that sent home Sinister5. Those Treants are clearing out those waves. They're going to lose Stunt here on the back lines. Jimmy's on the deck. GG, well played, has been called out. My respect goes out to the boys from Sinister5. You had an amazing day. And well played to you guys. First time on land. First time together here. And we wish you guys all the best. But the winners of this evening and of this series is going to be APG. They stay a little bit longer. I don't know how you guys feel, but a round of applause is deserved to both teams.
Absolutely. I think APG, again, king of the lower bracket, pulling this one through. Very sad to see Sinister5 go. A good bunch of guys, and I mean, I might shed a tear tonight about this, but it's nice to see them come through to the event and do so well. So I'm very glad that they have had such a good show.
Yeah. Well, from myself, Jabba and Scarpy, we wish you a good night, but we're not done yet. Over to the guys at the main stage.
Done, boys.
Thanks a lot, Jabba and Scarpy, for having the energy to take us through that last one. Thanks to the players as well. It's been a long day of Dota and really putting in a lot of effort to get us through there at the end of a long day. But over to the panel now to analyze where it perhaps went all wrong for the Sinister5 guys.
Well, they may not have won the game. They may be out of the tournament, but they certainly won some hearts tonight, the boys of Sinister5. I heard cheers, I heard jeers, and judging from the commentary, we all loved the show. However, we're going to have to say a damn good goodbye to them.
Yeah.
What is it that went so damn terribly wrong for them?
They got overzealous.
Don't say in charges.
It wasn't charges. Like what happened was they got overzealous. They decided they could win early, like very quickly. So they first picked Viper, then they last picked Enchantress. Like they could have gotten the Spirit Breaker to stop the what happened against them. We could have picked the Juggernaut, but they went all in. Basically, they gambled it all and they lost.
Didn't work out this time.
It really was Enchantress. Sorry. Like, how can you pick that hero into a jug? Spin counters you, Omni Slash counters you, you've got a Spirit Breaker that's going to charge you. You can still charge you, can still ulti you. It just had no impact whatsoever. I don't know what they were thinking with that. If it was a misclick or something, I'm not sure. But I get that they wanted to win the game in 20 minutes. But why Enchantress? There's better heroes for that.
Because you believe, man.
But you believe. But
when you believe, like I believed, I'll be honest, I believed a lot. I thought they could do it.
Sinister5 stole my heart, but it's also bittersweet because we know how great APG can be, and we've been waiting to see them come back like this for a while. Like we said, lower bracket kings, but they have been underperforming in the last couple of months. To see them come back like this is also, it warms the heart a bit as well, because after all, we love our boys, don't we? Really, really do. But I was rooting for Sinister5 because I really felt like they deserved to be here, and they really fought to be here as well. So it's bittersweet because on one hand I'm happy for APG, and on the other hand I'm sad for Sinister.
I'm proud of APG.
I'm very proud of APG as well.
But I'm definitely proud of APG, and they deserve the crown that they hold.
Yeah. Lower bracket
It's
kings.
still early days. It's the early days of the loser bracket. However, hang ten. Why did APG win? And don't say Enchantress.
It was okay, so just the reasons why they won, ACG Sniper, there was absolutely no way on the side of Sinister5 to control him. None of the heroes that they had could actually get to Sniper, break past that backline. So whenever you have a Sniper in a draft that the enemy heroes can never kill you, then it's pretty much a free game for you. And there were a lot of heroes ahead of him that could create the space for him. Spirit Breaker was doing normal Spirit Breaker things, making the mid lane much easier. We saw Juggernaut. Juggernaut had basically a free game. They left him to his own devices. They knew he was not going to be contested in any way. And then how do you lose a game when your two primary heroes are heroes that just the enemy heroes cannot kill ever? They don't have the lineup to bring down the Juggernaut or the Sniper, and then it makes it a lot easier to win the game thereafter.
I mean, they focus the Spirit Breaker because he's creating havoc on the sidelines, and in the meantime, you've got the Nature's Prophet and the Juggernaut taking the racks or taking a tower. So they literally couldn't focus everyone. And like I said, Sniper right at the back, they couldn't really get to. They didn't have an answer for him. Yeah, he gets caught out every now and again, but when you come down to the nitty-gritty of the fight, the Sniper's at the back, and you've got no way to contest him.
Right. Well, I've always said that one way you can define a team is to see how they behave, how they carry themselves after a loss, after a crushing defeat. I know that they hoped for more here. They came here with the intention of making rabbit stew. Unfortunately, they got a mouthful of pain, real pain. And we are fortunate enough to have guys sitting in the back ready to interview them as they go on out. So we're going to cross on over to them. From myself, Wilson and Triple XL, and my dear panel, Snare and Succubus, we wish you a damn good night.
I'm here with Traxian from Sinister5, who, although the guys have done so well to get as far as they did, obviously a little bit disappointed. And we're hearing the crowd cheering as we speak. I think despite losing your games, have certainly won a lot of new fans. You guys can be very proud of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're not that disappointed. I think we gave it our best. I think APG was just the better team today, yeah.
Obviously, playing on LAN is a very different experience to playing online, and this being one of your first opportunities, how different is it transitioning to this LAN experience?
I think there is a few pressure we're having, especially we coming, beating them in the first game, we're really confident. Second game, not going so well. And I think the pressure might have gotten to some of us. I think we tried to force too many things. But in the end, they did really well. I give it to them, yeah.
Cool. So obviously your team's excited about what you've achieved. How do you go back, regroup, and get ready for the next one? What kind of advice or what stuff have you learned from this particular event?
I think we do have a stand-in, so I think that might have been one of like a factor. But he played really well. Don't get me wrong, he played exceptionally well. But playing with a stand-in always might affect your plays. But I think we're going to take this opportunity to learn from all our mistakes, all our plays and everything, and learn from it. We're just going to come back stronger, and next time we're going to even beat WRG, you know?
So you certainly have one of the loudest fan groups that have come here to support. Is there anything you want to say to them?
Nah, I'm just going to say, keep it up.
Awesome. Man, a few words there. And thanks to the supporters, of course, for supporting Sinister5 through this tournament. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back with the winning captain from APG. Hi there, we are back after that short break. I'm here with Bob Yules from APG. Obviously, the Sinister5 guys gave you a bit of a scare with that first one. And obviously, I think a bit of BMT and having been here a couple of times before managed to get you through game 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'd just like to say well done to Sin5 first and foremost. I think they should be really proud of themselves of what they've achieved this year so far, and they're just going to keep building and getting stronger, so congrats to them.
A lot of guys have said that APG have lost a bit of momentum since Adam left the team. How much kind of credence is there to that, or is the team just kind of finding its feet again?
Well, facts would argue otherwise, that after we lost Adam that we just started placing much worse. It's hard to argue with the facts, but within the team we focus on improving ourselves all the time. It may not seem so, but we learn from our losses really well, and you know, it's quite hard to replace Adam. He's a renowned carry player, but you know, we enjoy playing Dota 2, and that's about as much as we can ask.
Well, I suppose it all accounts that you're enjoying yourself, and you're saying that you learn a lot from your losses. Losing that first game against that mid-Jakiro pitched up for 2 more maps, but you managed to deal with it quite easily. What is it that you learned from that first game that you managed to turn around so quickly?
We decided to just stick to stronger picks, so we knew maybe we weren't actually quite sure. We kind of figured out pick Monkey King from the second game. We've scrimmed them a lot as well, so they were kind of predictable in the drafts, and for game 3 we knew they were going to first phase the Knicks, and we had a Juggernaut or Lifestealer planned to do well in the lane and in the mid game. So
there was also the panel talking about how you guys are the kings or the resident landlords of the lower bracket. How much of kind of the play style depends on that kind of like last lifeline sort of mentality that you're literally playing for your lives at any one stage versus, you know, perhaps the cheesy pocket strats that guys are talking about in the upper bracket?
It's almost the team that just takes the initiative in the lower brackets. You kind of want to build that momentum early in the game and kind of put the pressure on your opponent to try to do something out of the ordinary or something they're not comfortable with. So we stick to our guns in the lower brackets, and let's hope we can keep going.
Awesome. Well, you're going to spend a little bit longer in the lower bracket, so hopefully sticking to your guns will get you a lot further. Thanks a lot there to Bob Yules and obviously to the APG team for putting on a great show and taking themselves through to the next round of the lower bracket. We are done now for today's stream, but of course we will be back tomorrow with the rest of the lower bracket and as well as our upper bracket finals. The stream kicks off at 9:30 tomorrow morning, so you can watch live on stream or you can join us here at EGE. First game is at 10 a.m. I'm Gareth Woods, and this has been a great day of Dota at the EGE VS Gaming Master Series.